Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone Live Spyfall, episode 1. And this is the panel we have. We have Blue Bonahoovian. Hello, Blue Bonahoovian.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Pretty
Did you have a
good.
good Christmas?
I did.
Well,
I had
that's
a really
nice.
good
That's
Christmas.
nice. Yeah, I'm glad you did. And a rabbi from another planet is here. How are you, my friend?
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad. Actually, your camera has cleared up quite good now. It was actually very pixelated at the start, but it's grand now. I'm rubbing my eye now all of a sudden. I've got an itchy eye. Sorry, folks. And we have Jason Scott here also with us. How are you? And I also might add a first time on the channel. So welcome, my friend.
Hey, Noel. I'm good. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. Right. So we've all seen the episode. I don't know how to do this. So I was thinking maybe we should talk about the positives first. Maybe.
Okay.
Because I think that would be a good way to go. So just to give you a bit of a kind of synopsis. So the episode kind of starts off with different locations around the world, and basically you're seeing what's happening to all these spies, and these spies are being taken out now. If I'm correct in saying the DNA has been rewritten, but we don't find out how their DNA, because there's obviously a second part. Right. Do you know what? I can't be bothered doing a synopsis, because if you haven't seen it, then, look. Right, let's talk about the positives. Right. Who wants to start first?
I thought the
I'll
pacing was
start.
very good. It zipped along nicely.
Right, sorry. There was a bit of a delay there. Right.
So I was saying I think the pacing was pretty good. I think the episode zipped along nicely and was, it didn't. I mean, I did nod off in the middle but it moved nicely and it engaged you. It was bright. It was visually appealing, I think.
Yeah.
Anybody goes
I
like
say,
I'm doing my best.
Right. Well, for me, it was a huge improvement on Series 11. And Jodie has toned down her performance. I thought the villain was very interesting. The ending of the episode is actually quite good. This was better than anything we got in Series 11. I would actually say, if you compare it to Series 11, it's a huge improvement. But again, we kind of have to look at this, that the bar has been set low for this series. So if you're looking at it from that point of view, well, then you would say it was a pretty average episode. But considering what we've gotten in the past, this is probably the best thing that Chris Chibnall has written. And I think people would probably agree with me on that one.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it's definitely better than the woman that fell from Earth, for sure. I like the villains in it. I like the way that they were implemented. I like the scene outside of the hut where it showed them and they appeared. I thought that was very Doctor Who-ish, and it actually made me happy, because I felt like finally I'm watching a Doctor Who episode from this era, and it was nice to see that. There was actually one scene that I could actually give Jodie credit for, is the scene where she's going outside and they're telling her not to go outside, but she goes outside and she sees these creatures, these we don't know what they are, and she has a really genuine look of fear on her face. And I'm just thinking, why just harness that and let's bring that out more, and then I think that we're on the right track. Absolutely loved the ending. I was really engaged. The story was decent for Chibnall. I was impressed. And those are the positives. I mean, Bradley Walsh, as usual, is brilliant. I mean, there's a lot of good in it. I mean, it really is. But that's pretty much the positives for me. But it did finally feel like that I was actually watching a genuine Doctor Who episode, and I haven't felt like that in a long, long time.
Well, if I may.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought, for me personally, compared to season 11, the writing was, there was no contest. The writing was head and shoulders above the previous season, for sure. There were elements that I didn't. From what I've seen of season 11, there's just elements that in this that it didn't drum up for me in season 11, such as curiosity. I actually wanted to see what was going to happen and what these creatures were. I think the way that they implemented the villains was great. I would put some of the writing in terms of the way that they directed the scenes, the way that they directed the villains to appear, that was. That harks back to some really good Doctor Who episodes. Of course, there's elements to the writing I didn't appreciate. But in terms of good things, I think the writing was a definite improvement. And I would think it would be, for me personally, I would put it up there with a look. If Peter Capaldi were playing those parts, I would think that would just complete the whole. For me, that would complete the whole episode. But as far as the good things, I think the writing, there were a lot of moments that I thought, wow, now that's curious. That left me very curious. What's going on? And I just didn't get a lot of that from season 11.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the one thing they really improved over the entirety of season 11, and there's one element that was really missing that they got right tonight, which was scary monsters and villains. That was devoid of the entire season 11. Even the Dalek episode, it really wasn't there. Especially the way they represented the monsters coming in through the TARDIS. That was fun. That was interesting. I like the big reveal of the Master at the end. I guess we're spoiling, but that was really good. I think he was good casting. I think he pretty bounced as well of Jodie. So that was really devoid of last year. Villains and monsters. If they keep this up, and they keep the agendarizing to just not at all zero. I think they're going to have a passable show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I look again, as we said, the bar has been set a bit low, but there was moments in this episode, definitely. I thought the villains are quite interesting. I just want to see what they do with these villains, because for me the most interesting part was the villains and the Master, and obviously Lenny Henry's character actually was quite interesting. 93% human, wasn't it? And so 7% non-human DNA. So trying to figure out who he is going to be, and to find out who he is going to be very interesting.
But wouldn't you be okay with the villains just being light creatures? Personally, they don't have to be anything else. I think that is quite a thing they've created there. I would be perfectly content with them being light creatures, and we kind of have to figure out what they are.
Completely new.
Yeah.
If it's something new, that's good too.
Yeah. I have to say the creatures are good.
The problem with all the new creatures they had last year was they weren't scary. They weren't interesting.
Yeah. But these ones are.
These were.
Yeah, these ones are. That's the difference. I'm actually very surprised. And a lot of the J-bots out there are probably surprised that I actually am giving this a bit of praise. But I did say, if the writing was an improvement, I was going to go in to this series with more of an open mind. I have. I sat there and watched the episode. I didn't actually say much because last year we couldn't actually watch an episode properly because I kept talking through it. This year I actually sat down and I watched the episode, and I have to say what I seen was an improvement on Series 11, and I have to say it. And I know there's some people out there that are going to review it that I think are not going to give it an honest review because they don't like Jodie Whittaker. Now, people know my stance on Jodie Whittaker, and I just want to actually bring up something real quick. So I received some pictures of Miss Whittaker. It was got to do with this iCloud hack. Okay. Now I'm after receiving a bit of a backlash, and a couple of people that were to appear on this panel decided that they didn't want to, and that's fine. That's fair enough. I understand. But a lot of people feel like I've let them down. Listen, all I'll say is this, right? It might have been a bit of an ill-judged move on my part to actually do that. But at the end of the day, right, I put the wrong version of the video up. Now, I know people say it doesn't matter which version I put up, but those photographs are actually public knowledge, okay? They've been out there in the domain since June. I was alerted to these photographs, and I deal with news, okay? It was an ill-judged decision, but I shouldn't have to be punished for it, to be quite honest with you, the way people are punishing me for it, because, you know, I apologized. I don't know what more people want from me right now. I've apologized, and look, I've made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes in this fandom. It's the first bloody mistake I think I've made anyway, and people are coming down on me real hard. Do you know what I mean? And I worked hard on this channel to build this up, and you know, do you think I would really do something to jeopardize it? I honestly thought it was newsworthy. Obviously, I judged the mood of the fandom wrong, and some of you out there felt it wasn't newsworthy. So for that, I apologize, but I will never apologize for putting news out there, but I will apologize for that video. Now, that video has been removed, so I don't know. I wish I just hope people can move on from it, because I want to move on from it now. Because I've seen a few people in the comments, and everybody's asking, so I'm telling you all now, that's what it's about. So can we just please move on, guys? I just want to move on. Look, I made a mistake, okay? And I said sorry. So.
All right. I wish I saw the video now. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, everybody probably does now. I don't care. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, I mean, because I think you apologizing is fine and all, but honestly, you know, it needs to be known. What was your intention of doing when you did that? Obviously, you didn't have bad intentions, so it should be known. You know,
anybody that knows me knows it wasn't
right. I know you didn't.
That's the thing, and it's like as if people are actually saying, "Oh, well, you did it because you hate." I don't know. Look, I dislike Jodie Whittaker as an actress, yes, but I didn't do it because I hate the woman. I done it because I was given it, and I thought it was newsworthy. I mean, why was nobody talking about when the rest of the world was talking about all the other actresses that were actually hacked, right? And by the way, might I add that Matt Smith, a few years similar to that, a few photographs of his were leaked, right? And YouTube channels covered that, but didn't get the stick that I'm getting now, right? So if we're really talking about equality here, right? And I said this earlier to the wife, if we're really talking about equality here, well, then there should have been no issue with me doing that video, because see, there would never be equality in society, because you'll always have someone that will be offended by it's a woman, you can't do that. Well,
and do you think honestly, if you had posted when the news hit about Matt Smith, if you had posted those pictures or those videos, and you know, obviously blocked out the
naughty bits. Blocked out. Yeah, I don't think there would be this reaction. No, I honestly don't think so. No, and that's what actually annoys me, is the fact that there wouldn't be this reaction if it was Matt Smith. And by the way, for people saying, "Oh, well, he didn't say out with Matt Smith," I wasn't on YouTube when Matt Smith. So how can I complain about something if I wasn't on YouTube? I was doing slideshow videos if I was on YouTube. And I think, when was Matt last the Doctor? I was on YouTube. I started YouTube 2013, October 2013. So,
and you know, the thing is, if you had been on YouTube when that news hit about Matt Smith, I'm sure you probably would have posted the same video or pictures yourself and blocked out, you know.
Exactly. But look, I will apologize to those people, because a few people know, because I'll tell you why I am apologizing. There's a few people out there that I have upset, that I'm actually upset because they don't want to talk to me anymore. And it actually has got to me. It wasn't my intention to be nasty or to do anything. You all know me. This is what actually annoys me, is that you all know me, but you have taken such offense to this. But we'll move on.
Wait. Are we talking about the like the topless pictures that were
Yeah.
on the
Yeah, they've been all over the place.
How is that not newsworthy?
Right.
Of course that's newsworthy. She's a star. Like, if the star of Doctor Who, no matter who it is, at the time, has revealing pictures of himself. If Tom Baker in 1977 had nudie pictures of himself, that would be newsworthy.
I know, but you see, here's the thing though, guys. The mood has honestly changed. I actually brought this up a couple of streams ago. I've noticed the fandom, and not just this fandom, but other fandoms, there seems to be a slight change in the mood now. And I don't know what it is. I think people are getting fed up of all. I'm being honest. I think people are getting fed up with all the negativity, and I think the mood is starting to change a bit. And I think people are starting to be a little bit less critical. It's not that people are giving up or anything. I don't think people want drama anymore, to be quite honest with you. And I honestly didn't think, and this is where the miscalculation is on my part, I didn't actually think that this would cause too much drama, but it did. But I'll just, look, as I said, I want to draw a line through. So we'll go back to Spyfall anyway, because that's what we're here for. So, right, look, there was good parts of this. We've talked about the villains. Let's talk about the obviously the cameo. And again, I was right about that. I said it was a short cameo, and it turned out to be a short cameo.
Very.
So Stephen Fry, what did you guys think of his short cameo? I actually thought he was very good. Actually, I love Stephen Fry anyway. I'm a huge fan.
I mean, I think it was really good. I thought it was kind of wasted.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. It anyone really, and I think there could have been a lot of better people. Like, I don't know, if they really want to do the James Bond thing, if they could have got Ralph Fiennes in to do that, or Judi Dench.
Yeah, Judi Dench would be great.
That would have been, I think, much cooler.
Yeah. What did you think of the little joke between when Stephen Fry was actually looking at Graham?
Oh, it was awesome. It was brilliant. I loved it.
It was funny though, wasn't it? It actually was. I know it was crazy, but it was funny at the same time.
So, my problem with that was I just read an interview with Jodie Whittaker saying it's not an issue at all that I'm a woman, or we've moved beyond that. And then the first moment why do they have to keep screaming about it? For God's sake, we know you. Listen, if you just dress like a woman, we don't know you're a woman. If we know you're a woman, you keep screaming it.
And she still chose to wear those high water pants. That when she got a change of clothes, it's like let's be conspicuous. I can't say the word conspicuous, and she wears the high waters. Yeah,
I don't like that suit, and I know that suit has gotten that new costume has gotten a lot of praise because there was a photograph put up a couple of weeks ago on it, and it was actually trending on Twitter at one stage. But I don't like those short trousers. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. Right, and I might sound like a dinosaur here, but I don't care. There is no problem with putting a woman in a dress. Put her in a dress, for God's sake. What is wrong with putting Jodie Whittaker in a dress?
Nothing.
Exactly, but they seem to have a problem with that. Is that her decision, or is that the showrunner's decision? I'd like to know whose decision that is.
I heard she picked out the costume. I think she picked out the costume, from what I understand.
Yeah. And she did. I know she had a hand in the costume anyway. Well, that's what she's telling me.
They don't want to portray her as a woman because, a lot of people these days think it's some sort of, I don't know, gender bias maybe, where you're portraying women as, effeminate, whereas you want to portray the Doctor as, having some masculine qualities.
Yeah. And that's where I think they fail with today's female leads, because they do try to do that instead of actually just writing them as female leads and having their look. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and they should play up on that. But I don't.
Well, they didn't do that for Missy. Missy had a dress.
Yeah, Missy was written as a woman. I think it's a broader cultural thing that they want to. I think there's a social engineering going on that they want to instill the idea that men and women are interchangeable, which I just think is fundamentally not the case. I mean, if anybody has been married or has children, men and women are different. Not to say one is better than the other, which is just so stupid that we have to say. That's why I thought that the upgrade line was just so obnoxious. No, neither one is better. Men and women are not better. We're all the same.
Yeah, we all have weaknesses. We all have strengths. Here, right. Steve, so Lenny Henry is obviously going to play a big major part in this. He featured heavily in this episode. What did you think of his character? See, the jury, for me, Lenny Henry, I think he gives it all. I don't know. His performance for me is. I'm not a huge fan. I've seen Lenny Henry, and his performance just seems the same, mundane. Now, I'm not saying it was mundane in this, but I don't know. I just don't see Lenny Henry with a gun in his hand. I couldn't.
Is he weird?
Yeah, I don't find it believable, but. He by him, the way he was acting, he is sinister. There is something sinister about him, but I just can't just leave the gun out and the stupid face he pulls when he's firing that gun as well. I don't know.
Although why he runs from the Doctor at that point is beyond me. Like the Doctor, that was one of the weakest parts of the show, when the Doctor confronts him so badly. Just so insanely badly. And then he runs away. Why would you run away from this crazy, even if she's 100% right, she's a crazy woman. Who cares what you could just have security throw her out. That's
right, yeah, if you follow me. Yeah, I know. He says, if you follow me, and then he gets in the car and then they get right, we have to bring it up because Derek McManus has actually brought it up, and I put it up on the screen. And the motorbike scene, I'm gonna say something. The motorbike scene was ridiculous.
It really was.
That's the thing. Let me just say, I was wondering. Okay, so Daniel, the character in the show, wait a minute, is it Lenny's? I'm sorry, Lenny the actor. Am I wrong here? Wait a minute, am I off? We're talking about the Lenny
Henry, the actor.
Lenny Henry.
Okay, so in the chase scene.
Yeah,
we're talking. This is a guy who doesn't he head one of the largest corporations in the world?
Yeah, he's supposed.
Yeah. So he's in a chase scene in a vehicle where it's just him and a driver, and he's firing the gun. He doesn't have 3 or 4 security details.
Exactly.
He's sticking his neck out the window and firing a gun at that three oncoming attackers.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, though, and the reason why I'm thinking, okay, maybe the reason why he's doing that is because 7% of him is non-human. So maybe that's why he's taking risks. We just don't know yet, because obviously we haven't had the second.
Yeah, but wouldn't it make more sense that he has at least several security detail?
True. And in the house, did he have many? So actually gone through that.
I didn't see any, but that doesn't mean they weren't there.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see any.
Good point, actually. That's a good point.
I mean, they seem to be setting him up like a Tobias Vaughan type of figure from Invasion.
Yeah.
Actually, someone made the point. I thought Lenny Henry was brilliant. He ran to lure the Doctor to the plane. Well, that actually is true. Actually, he did lure the Doctor to the plane. Oh, yeah,
that makes sense. You're right.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's why. Yeah, but still, I suppose they were on bikes and he was just shooting back at them, but he actually wasn't shooting at them. He shot at the bikes because he kept hitting the bikes. So maybe it was a deliberate attempt. Like, he'd shoot at them, but he's not going to kill them.
Right, but it seemed like he was making an effort to deny. I mean, if his idea was to lure her to some sort of trap, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was just playing the game to get her to, to fall into the trap initially when she confronted him at the party.
Yeah, I look, our acting even on the plane when the reveal happens, I actually found her believable this time. When she's down on her when she's lying down on the plane, because obviously we will tell you what happens to the plane now in a minute. Oh, and by the way, just in case, I should have actually said this at the start, but I did give a warning. There's going to be plenty of spoilers. It's too late. About 24 minutes in. Oh, I forgot to
Yeah,
say.
they already know that the master ends up at the end.
Oh,
and-
it's okay. Cheryl said she put it out there. Brilliant. But spoilers galore. Yeah, there was a chase scene with the chaser, Bradley Walsh. Yeah, the chase. Yeah, that's funny. The chase scene I saw with Gene Hackman in the French Connection in the best chase scene. We're talking about the best chase scene. Look, that chase scene wasn't anything spectacular, but and even Jodie running after the plane, it still didn't look any better. Now, actually,
No, it looked awful.
it did look awful. But let's go to the big moment actually in the episode, which is obviously right at the end. Let's talk about Sasha's performance. I knew he was playing the master. And I also have to give credit to a fellow YouTuber out there who probably listened to this. Hopefully, well, you will listen to it. Matrix Lord, because Matrix Lord and myself and a few others a few months ago actually called this. But what did you guys think of his performance as the master? Now, I'm going to say, I said it to some people because some people actually don't like it, thought it was a bit over the top. I absolutely loved it. He looks sinister. He looks like a lunatic. He looks like he just doesn't give a crap. And you know what? I want a master like that. So I'm definitely up for him for the master.
He was playing it dangerous and unhinged, which is what you want from a master.
Right.
He'll play it very similar to John Sim, but I think John Sim's master is the one that never really landed for me. You know, I never it's okay, but it is.
Yeah,
I agree.
This one is similar, but this one works better than for me.
It does, and the fact that he basically disguised himself as an agent for years.
That's
so
much. That harks back to the classic era with Roger Delgado and Anthony Ainley, and he kind of had an Anthony Ainley feel to me.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He convinced me he was the master. Why can they always recast the master regardless of gender and do it right? You know?
I know, it's amazing. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I would agree with that.
I will say that this casting was spot on by Chibnall. Chibnall was involved in this casting. He has to get credit because this casting was spot on. I actually like this version of the master. I just think this master is not going to give a flying F.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's got.
In terms of the show, the problem. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
In terms of the show, the real problem they got is he's much stronger presence on screen than Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, I was saying that to my husband. We were talking about that after we watched it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching The Master this series more than Jodie Whittaker.
Stephen Cassidy asks, was he more believable than Missy? Absolutely. I would say that. Oh, look, you know me. I've been criticizing this era like big time, right? I haven't liked anything they've done, but this master, I can honestly say, is going to be one of the best things of this era. If he's in it more, and hopefully he is, and he appears a few times in this series, well, then we're in for something special with him anyway. I will say he does overshadow Whittaker in that scene, but I will say one thing. Whittaker in that scene at the end where she's lying down on the plane and he's actually basically telling her that everything you know, that line that I told you all, everything that you know is a lie. Basically, her face is priceless there. I was convinced she knew the master had got one over her. And just the way he just leaves the plane is brilliant. What did you think of his TARDIS, by the way, guys?
That was great. That was
fun. The TARDIS that was outside the plane.
The TARDIS was outside the plane.
I liked it. It was definitely different.
Yeah. By the way, it was a house. So if you've ever seen The Wizard of Oz, people have made that connection. It's the house. It does. I will have to admit it does. But it was actually. It was. You weren't expecting it. That's the thing. See, this is the thing that Chibnall has actually done right. And credit where credit is due. You were not expecting it. And the villains were actually very interesting. look, it's not perfect. The bar is a bit lower, but it's a huge improvement, and I'll keep saying it's a huge improvement. Would I go as far as to say that everybody should flood and go and watch this? Well, it's very. I don't know. See, the thing about it is, if you watch the first episode, you might want to watch the second episode, and that's the thing. The thing about this is it keeps you in. It keeps you interested, right? Last year, you watched an episode, you got bored. Yeah, you got bored and you fell asleep last year, right? When you watched it. This year, it was a different feel altogether. You didn't get bored. It did actually keep you interested. Let's talk about Yasmin Khan, because she is one character that actually has gotten a lot of stick in this era. Any improvement on? Do you guys think there was any improvement? She did get more dialogue.
Well, they gave her something to do.
They did, because she disappeared.
That was a major improvement in of itself.
Actually, that thing, when she did disappear, she landed in this kind of no space. Now, they did mention, do you know what I was thinking? Or maybe I'm thinking too far ahead. Do you remember in Doomsday, and someone has mentioned this before, do you remember when the Doctor actually sent all the Daleks and the Cybermen to the Void?
Yeah.
Right.
Remember? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's maybe them. That's probably those Cybermen, because it gets hinted at a couple of times. It's a no space. It's a void. You know,
right? And
to be honest,
that would fit in with the whole ghostly presence of whatever they are, the light creatures.
To be honest,
they look similar to the ghosts.
I'm really hoping, and maybe this is running counter to the popular opinion right now, but I'm really hoping it's not Cybermen, because we've seen them, and we need another original villain, to come on the scene to be presented, because that would really add something different. I mean, we've seen Cybermen a lot, and that's great.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. If it's not Cybermen, it'll be great. 100%. I just don't think they can. Look, it was so obvious that Sasha Darwin.
I said straight away the first time I seen them, I said they're Cybermen, right? But this is the thing. This is the thing, and I get what Jace is saying. But wouldn't it be great if it wasn't? If he could actually fool us, and say, so we're thinking it is the Cybermen, and it'd be great if it actually isn't.
Right, and it would give him some sort of clout that he can create new villains.
Exactly.
Well, okay. Let me ask a question though. In previous episodes, because I haven't seen all the episodes, and so you're somebody who's a historian, which is pretty much everybody on the panel. But as far as the Cybermen, I noticed the way that these light creatures talk. At least the one. Would that be indicative of how a Cyberman responds and talks?
No,
I didn't get that either.
I actually thought it was the great intelligence.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but that from the Matt Smith era.
Yeah, I thought it was the great intelligence because it had the same sort of voice, but then I could be wrong. It could be the Emperor.
That could be a cyber controller.
Or cyber controller, exactly. So, but it did sound like the great intelligence, personally speaking, but that could be just me thinking miles ahead. But yeah, it was interesting.
We're actually talking about Doctor Who. We're discussing it. It's fantastic. We're not saying how awful it is, which is really nice.
No, I'm actually trying to be positive here. And there was a lot of positivity to take from it, but we will talk about some of the stuff we didn't like in it because, again, I'm going to be fair and balanced on this, like I said I would be, but we will. But let's talk about Yasmin Khan. So, she did get sucked into this nether space, wherever you want to call it. And then she came back and she seemed a bit frightened or confused or something. Do you think? Because I was thinking Lenny Henry's character could have went through that. And that's where the 7% of the DNA has gone in those strands. Probably feeds off them or something.
I thought when she got taken to the Neverworld or wherever she went, I thought maybe they had transmuted her into some sort of, I thought part of her DNA might have been.
I actually thought she was dead.
I was hoping. I'm sorry.
Is this the real Yaz Khan? We don't know right now.
Exactly, because she didn't look right when she even came back, did she?
Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of thing.
It could be, because remember, Chris Chibnall has said that she's going to get a greater story arc. So maybe she is the story arc. Maybe now she is an agent for these aliens. She got sucked into that place. They used her, sent her back. Now she's going to be a spy within the
It's just too
TARDIS.
bad it couldn't have been Bradley Walsh.
Yeah, because that'd be brilliant. Yeah, that would be great.
I mean, it would just, yeah, you want to waste it on Yasmin. I mean, look, I'm nothing against Mandip Gill, but I'm not,
I'm not a fan either.
Yeah.
Look,
And the whole soap opera
she's a
scene.
crap
I could have lived without the whole soap opera scene, to be honest, with her and Ryan.
sitting on the steps of the cabin.
Yeah, I mean,
to keep doing things.
move
like that.
on. Let's see more. Let's see more villains. Let's see more Doctor Who science fiction. I don't want EastEnders.
No, but it's again. He's given us something to kind of latch onto. You know what I mean? So we're kind of wondering now. And you make a good point, Rabbi. Is this like the real Yasmin Khan now? But again, I would have to say that would remind me then of the story arc that Moffat did with Amy Pond with the double gangers. And I mean, if Chibnall thinks he can copy and get away with it, well then he want to make sure that these stories are spot on, because I'm seeing a lot of similarities as well. And I did hear the words in some articles throwback to the eras of past. So is he cherry picking stuff that he think will work well and just stuffing it in his era? But I will say,
that's what he did in this episode. I would say the whole plane thing is very similar to the Missy Capaldi plane interchange they had, wasn't it? And so I think he's panicked that like his version of Doctor Who was not as well received as they keep saying it was. And so I think he's really not talented. So he probably just got as cherry picked things throughout the history of Doctor Who. Like again, if Lenny Henry is exactly the same as Tobias Vaughan from Invasion, I wouldn't be at all surprised. It's like it. And I think we're going to see that. I think it's going to be enjoyable to watch. The plane scene was enjoyable to watch it, but that's what I think we're going to be seeing like a best of album for this series.
Nicholas Horton asks a very interesting question there. Which version of the Master did he regenerate from? John Sims' Master or Michelle Gomez Master? And I've actually seen Gary put in, it could be Ainsley's as well. See, here's the thing, we do not know. He could be, this could be an incarnation from a classic Master from a different.
Right, it could be.
One thing I did notice was, do you remember when Jodie Whittaker put the world map up and it showed the location of all these light source beings, right? And then it showed a map of the world several times over. That was basically letting the Doctor know that they're in every parallel universe. So this Master could be a Master from a parallel universe.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Now,
plus, we haven't seen every regeneration anyway, so it could be anything.
Exactly. And I think this would be a good thing to do because, he hasn't explained it yet, but he did make a few interesting comments that he's been collecting all this intel of the Doctor over the years, even when the Doctor was a man, right? Back when the Doctor was a man. So we don't know how long this Master has been around for, but we also don't know because when he put that world map up and then it changed then and it showed multiple world maps, so multiple Earths, I thought, they're doing a whole parallel universe thing. So he could be a parallel universe Master. These Cybermen could even be parallel universe Cybermen because apparently they got a little bit of a redesign. So they could well be, I'm just speculating, obviously. I just,
And then again, could be, harking back to the, Russell T Davies era where they had the
Doomsday was it?
Yeah, Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday and the Army of Ghosts, wasn't it? Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Yeah. It's not my favorite episodes, I have to be honest.
But let me just say, I do think if the performance by the Master at the when he was when he sort of exposed himself at the end. If that's indicative of his performance, his level of performance from here on out compared to Jodie Whittaker, this is going to be an issue.
It is. I agree with you. No, you are spot on, and I will say that Jodie Whittaker. Look, for all the good that I've said about this episode so far, the one weak link in this episode is definitely Jodie Whittaker. Still, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say it's the truth.
Yeah.
It is.
It's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, look, she's trying her best, and I can see that she actually is. This time round, she does look more confident, and we can't knock that. She does. But she's just not the level of actress that she needs to be for this. I'm sorry. And I'm not going to shy away from that. That is one thing that I do think. But I'm hoping, because
I'm not.
I know, Jason.
I have no hope.
Like you, I used to be a bit of a cynic, but I have to try and have some hope because, it is a show that I've grown up all my life with, and I'm just hoping to kind of improve. But
no, I just don't want to see you get your hopes built up only to get them knocked down. That's all I'm saying.
I know. No, I agree with you. I agree because trust me, I got me hopes up last year before Series 11. I thought, right, I'll give it a go, and then I was.
I mean, let me ask you, just honestly, what do you really think the chances are if her performance in this episode, and she's had a full season to develop her character?
Right.
What do you really think the chances are she's going to turn it around by the end of this season, or even maybe if they go for a third?
Oh,
what do you really
this
think
is the best you're going to get.
No,
I
agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
If she can't do it by now, it's over.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. Okay, here's the thing. She doesn't need to do it. And this is why identity politics hiring is so awful. She wasn't hired for her ability. Even though she does have ability, she wasn't hired. She was hired because of her gender, and that was it. And so as long as she keeps being a woman, she's doing everything she needs to be. She doesn't need to up her game. She thinks she's doing a great job because she's being a woman, being Doctor Who, which is.
Well, I think she's doing honestly, I think she's doing. She's acting to the best of her ability. And that's not a bar that's very high.
No, she's the level. I've said this all along. She's the level. She's a level above a soap star, right? That's what she is.
Not even that.
Right.
Well, we could argue that
she's a level of a toothpaste commercial.
All right. Well, that's
she fitted in fine in Broadchurch. She was fine in Attack on the Block. She was fine in playing normal female roles.
Yeah,
women that you can relate to.
Yeah, so there was nothing to actually.
But this is just out of the ballpark completely, and nobody's going to tell her that. Everybody's going to tell her that she's doing well.
I think she'd be fine as a companion. Yeah. I mean, she's
absolutely.
She'd make. Look, there was even rumor that she wanted. She actually tried to go for the master role. I'm sorry, but she's not even good enough to be the master. She would make a very good companion, and that's no disrespect. That's no disrespect for you. She's just not the level that she needs to be the Doctor.
Right,
and that is unfortunately the weak link. The writing,
honestly, that is the absolute truth. I've said that ever since season 11. I mean, I was trying to be fair, and I think the fair thing is that look, when you say her place, it's not an attack on her gender, but her place as an actor in the show and her ability would be at best a companion. And I think compared to previous companions, she would be a perfect companion.
Yeah, she would. She actually would be a perfect companion.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, now I think about it. Yeah, actually, you know what I always thought would be good? The woman who starred in his Dark Materials, and she was the main villain in Luther. What's the name again? Did you see that Dark Materials?
I haven't watched that show.
No, I've heard of it. I haven't watched it yet.
I'll look it up.
I thought look, some people are saying they didn't like the Master's performance. They thought he tried to be a bit like John Sim. I again would disagree with that.
I think he was way better than John Sim.
He looked back crazy, man. This guy convinced me that he's back crazy. Seriously, look, he was at that level. Do you know what level he was at? What's his name? second guy that played Andrew Scott as Moriarty.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Crazy.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
that
Moriarty
kind
in
of
Thriller.
crazy, but even more intense. I'm sorry, I have to disagree. I'm gonna stand up for this master, right? And by the way, I've noticed on Twitter that a few people have decided, because they can't say anything really negative. Because let's be honest, I know we've set the bar low, but there wasn't really anything that we can go on ranting about, really, right? It was, let's just say, it was solid for Chibnall, right? That's the way to put it, and that's not setting the bar really high. But I've seen some people have decided to pull out the race card and say, "Oh, I'm sick of all this PC agenda. Oh, now they've cast an Asian as the master." So feckin' what? If he is the right person,
that's fine.
Yeah.
no matter what race they are, they're entitled to play that role if they're good enough for it. And he is good enough, and I will defend him. He was absolutely brilliant. He could be. Sharon, what was my mouth? Like, you know me, Jordan Series 11, I couldn't even watch it. I was open-jawed looking at that scene. He convinced me he's a lunatic. He is going to do some nasty stuff if he's in this series a lot. Trust me.
You know, I didn't comment on his performance when you guys were talking about it, but I will say I thought the reveal, I mean, I was not impressed whatsoever when he first came on the side. I heard, you know, of course, that he was going to be the master.
Totally.
That was exposed to me early on. But I thought, if this guy's the master, come on. I mean, you know, but then because I wasn't impressed, I didn't think he had the look. I was just like, this is a no. But when he revealed himself, you know, I kind of forgave all that. I mean, his performance spoke for itself.
There, John Guggen puts a spot on there. On the airplane, when his identity was revealed, he physically seemed to uncoil. Excellent. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. That's why he chose because then Jodie Whittaker says, because she realizes who it is. It was actually a stroke of fucking genius there. I'm sorry, I have to say it. That line even was a stroke of genius. And he unhinged. He basically oh my God, I just can't wait to see.
Yeah, it's kind of sad when you're rooting for the master more than the doctor.
I know, that's the thing. I'm actually rooting for them. And you know what?
I want to see a series with that master. I want to see a series with the master as him in the lead. That would be cool.
And here I was, because the wife says I'm getting a bit loud, but I was actually saying, yes, the master got one over on the doctor. I was like, yes! And it wasn't because of that, but it was a genuine, it was like, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? It's Jodie Whittaker, and I'm sitting there going, finally, somebody recognizes her idiocy.
Doctor get one over on. That doesn't count.
It wasn't easy. They set the bar again pretty low.
You know, if I was a master, this is the doctor I would target.
Yeah, this is the one I would hope I would have to,
Yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be a whole timeline thing, and the old masters have sent him back to eradicate them. I'm only messing. I'm trying to be positive here, but that'd be a good way to go.
Actually, so something you mentioned earlier, which I think the animosity that Jodie that was built up for Jodie Whittaker and this whole era in general is played against them in certain ways. So I think you mentioned the scene where they're playing blackjack at the table, which gets another card and says snap. That was a well-written scene. I would love to see Jonathan do it.
Funny.
Right, and another doctor doing that
would
be
because
awesome.
I have no affection for this doctor at all. So I dislike her. I'm just like, oh, you idiot.
Right.
Well, I watched that scene. You know, I was thinking when I watched that scene, this would be perfect for Capaldi or, David Tennant or one of those other doctors, but, not really for her. But it's a great writing.
Tom Baker.
It's great material.
Great with Tom Baker. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Look, that's what I'm saying. Jason's this is great material. That's the thing. The writing, I said it. If the writing is improved, then we'll have something positive to say. And considering what, as I said, and I'll keep bringing it back, what we got in Series 11 wasn't good enough. Resolution wasn't good enough. This, if I'm being honest, hand on heart, is still not good enough. But the bar has been set so low now with the last era that this is a huge improvement. Now, if this series continues to improve, right, and get better and better, then, as I said, we are on the right track. But the weak link is still is still Manip Gill and Jodie Whittaker. And I actually have to say, I didn't like Tolson Cole in this episode.
No, I didn't either.
Well, they're playing him up to be. I mean, they wrote him last year to be the 60s screaming girl companion. So that's what I think.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
I know
he's essentially Susan.
I noticed something though. He got less dialogue though.
He did.
He did get less dialogue, but still, what he got to do, even that basketball scene.
I know.
The problem, the problem is I don't care about it. They don't write, these people don't, and it's just my opinion, the acting and maybe how they're performing the scenes, I don't have any feeling for them. I don't care about Mandip Gill or Tolson Cole, either one. I could care less if they're hurt or upset, and that's a sad place to be.
Yeah, I see a few people are saying, so it's basically a Tennant imitator versus a Sim imitator. I would have to disagree. I'm sorry, I disagree. I think his master is going to be something special. He's not. Look, someone mentioned Robert Delgado. Look, I keep getting Roger Delgado. Nobody's ever going to beat him as the master.
No,
okay.
no one.
So just because I'm saying this guy's performance is great as the master, I'm not saying that he's actually better than Roger. He's not better than Roger, but he's definitely better than John Sim. Sorry, but he is. So far, he's better. Now, don't get me wrong. I like John Sim in Series 10. That was a good master. The one that was in disguise and all, and tricked them and turned Bill into.
Well, the Saxon one.
Yeah, so that wasn't. I didn't like the Saxon one. No, that's the one I didn't like.
Well, it's also worth pointing out that we haven't seen this guy in a full episode as the master.
True.
So there's still a little room there to make an assessment of his performance. But so far, it looks really impressive.
It looks pretty.
Again, from first impressions, he's doing much better than Jodie Whittaker has done.
Yeah.
He's done much better with his 20 minutes on screen than Jodie Whittaker did with 12 episodes now.
Oh, there was an interesting scene where Graham was at the doctor's getting his cancer checked out, so he's all good, by the way, just in case anybody was worried about him being killed off. I think they just stuck that scene in to appease a few people, but it looks like he's got the all clear. But I think Yasmin is going to be the main feature. There's going to be something actually going to be done to her character. It is going to be interesting to see, but again, her acting is just not up to par either. She should be back in Hollyoaks. She shouldn't be anywhere near Doctor.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you say she's going to have a prominent, role, it's like so.
Yeah, it is that kind of attitude, though, isn't it? But look, again, as I said, there is interesting things in this that hook you. And he's never managed to do that for me. So
that's an accomplishment.
So
it really is. I didn't hate it. So that's
I didn't hate it. It's not the look. People asked me if there was an episode of
that should be the tagline.
I didn't hate it.
And if I was on a deserted island, which episode of Chris Chibnall's would I take? I would actually take this episode. I'm being honest. I wouldn't take any.
To my head, and I said I got to watch Jodie episode. It's this one.
Now let's just see if he can deliver on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday is going to be now. Sunday is where it either comes together or falls apart.
Right.
Actually, we briefly talked. What do you think the ratings will be for this episode?
I think it'll be pretty high.
I think 7.6 is my guess.
Yeah, that'd be good. Now, I actually thought it'd be lower, but if
it may be lower because the as we've been using the term, the bar has been set pretty low with season 11, so the ratings may be a little bit lower, and it may be unwarranted considering the quality of the writing and the improvement.
Yeah, but they've had a whole year for the normie public has had a whole year to forget how much they didn't like it.
Yeah, but they hold on. There's a little residual, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a little residual uncomfortableness with, I think, in my opinion. I mean, fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah, I'm still wary because this could be all like the first episode was decent, but we could. He could have filled us
I-
all.
It wasn't
I
even
was
like
holding
one
judgment
decent
for the
episode in
final
season
episode.
11.
Mm.
No. Kablam was okay.
Yeah, that's
it.
the only.
And that was
decent
just, and
one.
this is
Again,
way, way better than Kablam was.
yes,
This
it
is way better
yeah.
than Kablam. You are correct.
It
But
is,
I wanted to
it
ask. There's somebing in the chat. The true Whovian. You wanted to know about a master series? Go to bigfinish.com. They got a bunch of box sets of just master series. They're fantastic. They're all really good. So my strong recommendation to you.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. But I think that this master needs his own show. So far.
Yeah. They're doing a big like master crossover release next year. I wonder if he's going to be in it.
Mm. But the one thing I will say is, right, we've been getting all this propaganda lately about how scary these villains were going to be. Let's be honest, there were some jumpy moments, and the villains, as we have actually already mentioned, were actually quite decent. So they've kind of delivered on that as well so far. I mean, there's a lot of positives. There's more positives than negatives this year so far. Would we agree on that?
Yeah, but that one big negative is still Jodie Whittaker. They dealt with one negative, Chris Chibnall, but now they got another negative, Jodie. It's like, and it's such a glaring negative.
Yeah, but I did say this would be actually interesting because if the writing improved, it would expose Jodie Whittaker as the weak actress that I think she is, and we're being proven right so far. Certainly in some of the things I did think she convinced me. I do think she did convince me right at the end. She got screwed over. When I seen that look on her face, I actually didn't believe that. And maybe that was believable because maybe in her own head she's been screwed over when it's getting roles in jobs. So that was a genuine bloody look there. But this will expose Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker will be exposed if this writing continues to get better. And then everybody will see it for themselves then. This will be the good thing about it. People will see it for themselves then that, that the people that have been saying that it's not just Chris Chibnall, it is actually Jodie Whittaker as well, because you'll have a lot of J-bots that will defend her and say, no, it's actually the writing. Well, no excuse this time. The writing was actually an improvement, and Jodie Whittaker's performance
was decent.
Right.
It was slightly better, but it's still way under par. I'm sorry.
Well, at the last scene, the plane scene, when she gets duped, that writing, if it was any other doctor, it would have been justified. But the fact that it was Jodie Whittaker, who's already perceived as inept, does her no favors.
You're talking about the scene with
the scene
bomb.
where she's duped and she's on the plane and they're about to get blown to bits.
Oh yeah, like what? You couldn't defuse a bomb?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Probably would have done that in between sips of tea.
She gives up.
Right. She's like, I can't do it.
She's like,
what do you mean you can't do it?
She pulls out the sonic screwdriver for the 80th time during the episode because she can't do it manually, and decides, hey,
that annoyed me. I will agree. That annoys me that she still relies on this bloody screwdriver. And I mean, he said that the bomb was deadlock sealed or so. Oh no, he said it was a sonic screwdriver locked or something. It didn't even make sense.
Yeah, deadlock seal. I think a deadlock seal.
Yeah, but the fact that it's the doctor, you expect a little bit more. But and if it was any other doctor, you might be able to forgive the fact that the doctor, this was one that they got over on the doctor.
I would have to blame that on Chibnall because he wrote it that way.
Right, but my point is, if it was any other doctor, you could overlook the writing and making the doctor seem inept because normally the doctor's on the ball. But in her case, she's never on the ball.
No,
exactly.
She actually seems to be on the back foot all the time. I've noticed that, and she seems to be quite a lot. But look, if this hadn't have been ruined for me, I wouldn't have seen it coming. But when I say I
didn't know the spoilers. I heard the spoilers, but I tried to stay away from them. It was so obviously telegraphed. He kept winking when he said "Master Spider."
He was dropping hints all over the place. I know.
Her holding the door to block the bomb blast. I mean, absolutely. What do you? That guy looks like he had about 400 tons of TNT in that backpack, and she's going to close the door and duck her head.
Yeah, I was actually surprised the front of that plane wasn't blown right off, actually.
Right. Yeah, it was a very small explosion for that big bomb. Yeah, I was thinking this episode is the exact opposite of the Colin Baker story, Terror of the Vervoids. They just released that on Blu-ray. They did a special edition of it. And Terror of the Vervoids is a terrible story. Just everything about it is bad. The design, the writing, the direct, everything about it is bad, apart from Colin Baker's performance, which like rises above every scene he's in. This is the exact inverse of that. Which is everything is good. The production design, the writing, the direction, everything's good until you see the star and you go, oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, the Titanic was a beautiful ship that was brought down by an iceberg.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was
She's the iceberg of this. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it, but
let's try. But we are going to do you know what? Because we have been positive for the first hour, but we have to actually talk about some of the things that we didn't like in this episode. Because as I said, it's only fair that we do, a proper review. So we have to be balanced. So who would like to start with some of the things they didn't like in this episode?
Jodie Whittaker.
We already know.
No, I'm just kidding. I know.
Oh well, if that's a genuine.
Yeah, it is.
No, but there was a part. Do you remember the cabin scene when these entities, these light entities, approach, or they haven't approached? They're actually trying to figure out what's out there, and the security people or the security detail is, they're on the hunt. They're looking around, and everybody's kind of curious, right? So it appears that there's some dangers, there's some risk, and so what does the doctor do? Decides that it's a good idea to go out and expose herself and right in the middle of the field to figure out what's out there. Everyone told her, go back in the cabin. I think this is a bad idea. And she finally listened, but I thought it disturbed me. It bothered me.
Yes,
this doctor shows incompetence at every possible opportunity.
But
it seems like the companions figure out more stuff than her.
Can I ask you, why do you think Chris Chibnall writes her that way, though? If he didn't write her that way, she'd be far more likable. Okay, the acting would still be pretty shoddy, but we give her something decent to work with.
The answer to that is because he's a raging sexist. Because, despite everybody who screams about feminism, most men who scream about feminism are really look down on women. And genuinely look down on women.
Right, but the funny...
to be protected or... that's why, and he can't not put out his raging sexism because that's who he is.
But the problem is, in the case of that cabin scene, though, he wrote her as kind of stupid, which actually goes against the whole mantra of him being pro feminism and all this and that, because it just made her look dumb. I mean, it
did. He was dropping clues left, right, and center in front of her, and she didn't cop it. How did she not cop it? And she's in a room where he's collected information about her. Did she not find that suspicious either? And then a few little things he got wrong, and then she finally cops it after the last time when he gets mixed up about being a sprinter, and then he goes, "Oh, you caught me out."
Right.
After all of that.
It took her that long.
That's what I mean. Like, he does the right.
Yes.
That's down to Chibnall. Why? I don't know. Chibnall, it kind of does baffle
I think he's trying to write her quirky, but it comes off as stupid.
But he could write her quirky. The problem is she doesn't do quirky very well.
You're saying the doctor is dumb. Terrence Dix will be spinning in his grave.
Oh my God, Terrence Dix is spinning his grave.
Well, I will say they did put a nice little tribute right at the end of this episode. And considering it was Chris Chibnall's best one, they didn't totally, disrespect him. So, I mean, the episode, I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy parts of it. A lot of it, really, to be quite honest with you. But the bar has been set low. But I'm going to keep watching and seeing what happens, because there is a few interesting threads. But we do have to talk about, right, we know Jodie is a problem. But what else in this series, this episode, did you like?
let me just say real quick before you move on. Let me just say I think there were some. Look, I would be considered a normie.
Right.
I'm not an avid Doctor Who watcher. Okay, I mean, I've seen enough that I know a thing or two about a thing or two, right? So I can hold a conversation with a Doctor Who fan. But as a guy who's got an objective and outside perception, and as a guy who can give you a perception from a person who doesn't watch Doctor Who on a regular basis, in my opinion, that writing, because there was nothing in season 11, nothing from a normal average guy's point of view that would have drawn me in to be a fan. This episode, the writing, and I'm just giving you my normie opinion, there were elements that genuinely made me curious. I thought, my curiosity was, there were many scenes. I mean, I think the cabin scene, despite what I've said about Jodie Whittaker's ineptness, I think the suspense. I think the suspense was pretty high in parts, especially when those creatures were trying to get through inside the cabin. That was pretty suspenseful. Yeah, there were moments where she was acting stupid, but there was a lot of suspense, and I think there was also a lot of curiosity on my part as to know, what are these things? It really genuinely made me curious, and I think they did a great job of creating characters, these light creatures, that it seemed appropriate. It seemed rich. When I looked at that, I was thinking, well, that seems like an original,
they were impressive.
Good idea.
Yeah, impressive. I have to say, the villains were impressive in this episode. I just hope it's not the obvious one that we all think it is, and it's Cybermen, because that will be a little bit disappointing. I know, but it's so far, it's a great little concept, or it's a great little part of the Cybermen that we haven't seen, that he has added to the Cybermen. If this is a thing that's part of them now, this is actually not a bad thing, I'd have to say. What would you guys think?
I mean, I'm not against it being Cybermen, but I kind of tend to want it to be something different now.
I hope it is.
Because it really got my gears going, like I'm just like, wow, what are these things?
I'd be disappointed.
Right, I'd be a little disappointed if it was Cybermen.
Because that's a cop out.
I hope the robotic samurais, because they look like they had the hats of samurais. So
samurais. I was thinking that. He was asking me, is that what that's not Cybermen? I'm like, well, I was thinking maybe that they could change form, and they just obviously they've done that before.
Well, have they ever melted through a wall?
I think they're the Cybermen from the Tenant episode.
Right.
The dude that are caught in the void. That's how they would be able to getting it. It just seems like two things. It seems that's the obvious thing they're trying to lead you to, and two, if you watch the episode, you can see that's what they were doing with the Master as well. So they're not, they're not good at subverting expectations. So let's say that they often play the hand pretty openly. So if it's not Cybermen, I'm fine with it. Because bottom line, these things are scary. I'm glad to see a scary monster. That's all I wanted to see.
Yeah, but once they reveal them as Cybermen, then we're back to square one. It's like all the build up, and then it's like, oh, they're Cybermen. Okay.
John Googan,
that's fine and all, but
John Googan says there's too much emotion in the voice to be a Cyberman.
Yeah, somebody else said
that's
that.
What I was saying.
I have to rewatch it. I'll rewatch it in the morning so I get better bead on it.
Yeah, when that guy spoke, and the creature of light that spoke, who was trapped in the cabin, that didn't. I mean, from what I've heard of Cybermen, that didn't really. I didn't get that.
Yeah, there's something about those strands. I don't. Yaz. You know what? Those lights could be something got to do with the 7% that's taken out of the human DNA. I don't know. It's just something about that.
Right.
There's definitely a connection, I think. I hope it isn't the Cybermen, because I do agree with you, Jason. It would be back to square one. But we do know the Cybermen are to appear.
They're going to appear
in this era. We do know that is a fact that has been proven.
Yeah.
They come out and said it. So
just don't make it this episode.
I just hope it isn't as obvious, because I do agree with you. If they do something different, again, he's won me. He's won brownie points. He hasn't won me. Look, I gotta be honest. He hasn't won me over with this first episode totally, and he never will. But
is that because of the writing, or because of the acting, or I mean, would he have? In other words, would he have won you over just on writing alone?
No. No, and
Really?
he never will. He never will.
I mean, so let me put it another way. If Capaldi would have been playing that part, would have been playing the doctor, any good doctor you think is a good doctor, your favorite pick, had played that part, wouldn't that have won you over?
Well, right. How do I answer this? Yes, but I'll tell you why. See, the difference is when Jodie Whittaker was cast, right? The BBC came out and they basically dissed all the other actors that played the role before. So they basically did a hit piece on all our predecessors. They also took the media and the fans actually took their issues out on Doctor Who's decline, out on Peter Capaldi. There was disgraceful discrimination going on there, ageism going on as well. See, BBC haven't helped themselves because they've been so negative about all of our predecessors, right? They've come out against the fans as well and criticised fans that weren't on board with Jodie Whittaker's casting from the beginning. Now, a lot of fans do believe the Doctor should be male. I am one of those still. I do honestly believe the Doctor should be male. But this writing still for Peter Capaldi is not good enough, right?
Well, but if Peter Capaldi had been in it, I mean, I've seen enough of Capaldi to know that, but if he had been in that and performed those scenes, granted, there are parts that I would have cringed at, maybe just because of the writing.
Yeah.
But I would have, because the elements that I didn't like, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. And that's where
exactly
she falls flat. But if Capaldi had done some of those scenes, it would have changed the dynamic of the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have elevated the episode.
See, I think just to finish up my point, Jason, just to answer your question, I think what it is for most fans like me is that there's been too much said by the BBC.
Well, sure, but if you take that out of the equation, that's all I'm saying. If you just isolate it to, let's just look extraneous to what's been said in the bad blood that runs between the fans and the BBC. If you just isolate it to, okay, the writing, and you put a different doctor in and have him execute that writing, what would that have done to the impression of the writing? And in my opinion, it's just me, I think it would have elevated the writing, regardless of the bad blood. If you could get beyond that and be objective, in my opinion, it would have elevated that writing to a point where I could have said, yeah, that was a good episode.
Well, my wife made the actual point while she was watching it, that when she was watching it, she couldn't. What was it that you said? You couldn't really watch the episode, not objectively, but because you kept thinking back.
I felt like I was being super critical of everything.
Yeah, she thought she was.
So hearing in the background, everyone trying to say she was great. That was
right. So she felt herself being super critical of the kind of the cringy scenes, and obviously when she was watching this, she was being super critical because obviously everybody's being critical of Series 11. So it's kind of rubbed off her in that way. But she did enjoy the episode. That's the thing. For me, I can't put all that stuff aside, though. That's the thing for me, Jason. I can't, and I never will. BBC have damaged this product as well, in my opinion. And they've done a lot of damage to the legacy. Peter Capaldi couldn't save this writing. Yes, I agree with you. His performance would be more intense, and the writing would be elevated because of his acting ability and the way he would say these lines. He would deliver them much better, but it still wouldn't be enough. BBC would, for me, I don't know. They've lost most of this fandom, and I think after Series 12, fans will sit down, assess this era, and then we'll see if fans will come back. I don't see many fans coming back.
I think after
I've sat down and watched it. I've tried, right? I've sat down, I've watched it. I've tried to be very balanced, and I think I have. But it's Jodie Whittaker's performance is just not good enough. I'm sorry, and I just can't get out the belief that the Doctor should be male. And I know some people will say, well, it's been 2 years now, get over it. I can't. I'm sorry. It just, even if they
you could have got over it if they had somebody, a woman play it who was able to play it. I think you could have got over it quite easily then. But the trouble is they just didn't. they gave it to an actress who was too weak because their
if
first
they would have
choice
given it to
turned
someone
them down.
more seasoned, If they would have given it to someone more seasoned, it could have worked. But I just think now they've tainted it.
It is. That's what the problem is.
People are not open to it anymore. I never was open to it, but I gave her a chance last year, and so at this point now it's closed me off again, and I want it to be a male, never a female again. And it's just it's.
But I will watch this.
It could have worked if they did it right.
That's the thing. We will watch because at the end of the day, it's still Doctor Who in name only, though, in my opinion. But I don't want to see this show crash and burn. It was a huge improvement on Series 11, but the bar has been set so low now that our fans just going to accept that this is the best. See, this is what the decision fans will have to make now, in my opinion. Is this good enough, or are they willing to settle for this because this is as good as I think it is going to get? To be honest with you. I'm hoping I'm wrong and it does improve, but this could be the best that we get. And is that good enough? Doctor Who fans will have to ask themselves that question. Is that good enough for Doctor Who? Me personally speaking, I still think it's way off.
Oh yeah.
Well,
From a writing standpoint, it's not quite good.
The thing they really had in this episode, which I don't think they're going to have for the rest of the season, is spectacle. They had it looked very, very impressive. But again, as long as they can keep those good villains going, and they are bringing back a lot of villains this year.
That's what I mean. If they bring back villains, they'll keep us interested. But the thing about it is, the writing will have to either stay at this level or improve. If it dips, it's finished.
Right. By next episode, if it's bad, yeah, it's over.
If you ask me,
it's gonna.
If you ask me what well, look, if you ask me, the popular opinion of this, if we had a different doctor, if there was a different doctor playing the part, one that we all agreed was, look, that's a very capable person acting that role. And you combine that doctor with this writing, granted, the writing is not perfect and there are some issues, granted. But I think the general consensus would probably be that, no, it could be better. But this is, it's passable. It gets a passing score with the need for improvement. If you have a more capable doctor that, by a lot of fan standards is a man, but with this writing, it could use some improvement. But with the better doctor, I would say the episode, if the episodes could be at this level, this isn't what I would want. I mean, personally, I would want more, but I think this would receive a passing score on the low side. It would receive a passing score by fans in general.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a few of the comments on Twitter. It's actually trending, Doctor Who, and it's got exactly 45,000 tweets. But the Master, apparently, I'm told, is actually trending higher. So that's interesting. So the Master is actually trending higher than.
Well, big surprise there.
Wow. I'm seeing some early comments from some of the bigger YouTubers. There doesn't seem to be much love for it. Look, I know it's not the greatest, but it's still a huge. You have to acknowledge the good parts. I hope they do.
Look, the story was engaging. It sucked me in. There was parts I didn't like. But we can't all throw the baby out with the bathwater all the time. That's how I look at
it. Let me see. Let's see. Will I read some of the? Oh no, I better not read some of them now. No. Yeah, some people are still not happy. Look, you're not gonna please. Look, see, this is what I'm saying to you, Jason. See, the people have such disdain for the BBC right now, and Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibb and all that, no matter what they produce, even if it's slightly better than what they produced before. I don't think some of these YouTubers are going to give credit where credit is due. I think they're going to hammer this. I think a lot of them want to hammer the final nail in the coffin. But I did say I was going to try be balanced on this channel, and I will, and I'm going to stick to that.
Well, let me just say this. I mean, you're looking at it from a UK perspective. There's probably a lot of resentment if you live in the UK, and I can understand that. If you live in America like we do, I don't think the resentment is quite as high.
Me.
I mean, I'm sure there's fans, you know, that recognize the BBC is in control of the stuff that live in America. But I think it would be, to me, it just seems natural that it might be a little less resentment because you don't live in the UK. And since Doctor Who is international, you know, I'm just looking at it from an international perspective.
I'm actually seeing a lot of the live comments there as well, and I could see that there's people that don't like it at all. They're asking what good parts. The story was bad. I disagree. Again, I'd have to disagree. The story was engaging. We've said it, all of us have said it here. It's not Shakespeare or anything. You know, you're not going to get that level from Chris Chibnall. We already know that. But this is probably the best story that he has written. I'm sorry.
It really is.
That is the reality of the situation. Now, I know you guys have tinted glasses on because you don't like this show, but we have to give credit where credit is due. And I'm sorry, the writing was actually good. It was engaging. I was not bored like I was last year. So, I mean, I've seen others say that they thought it was all over the place. That's fine. I thought it was a little bit at the start when it was jumping from location to location, but I could understand why they were doing that because they were showing you what was happening to the spies. And Cheryl did mention the camera work was a bit all over the place at the start as well, which I will agree with. It was like if she actually even said if you had epilepsy, you'd probably take a fit looking at that camera work. It was a bit all over the place, but there was good stuff in this. And I'm sorry, I'm going to mention when there's good stuff. And I know there's people that followed me for ages probably don't agree with me and want me to bash this, but I'm not going to bash it unnecessarily. I will actually criticize it when it's really bad. This was an improvement. I'm sorry, it was. And look, we will get on to the bad parts because we were supposed to be talking about the bad parts, but we'll get into that. So we'll talk about the bad parts. So guys, who wants to start first? We know Jodie is one of the weak links, but what else in this story did you guys not like?
Really, the only thing was other than Jodie, was the way they're writing the Doctor for Jodie. Just a breathtaking incompetence. Like when she had the confrontation with Lenny Henry, she basically told him, I know nothing. I have no idea what's going on. I have no power, and you're completely in control. Like she just gave everything away. She gave her entire hand away to him, which she had nothing. And just this incompetence over and over again. No wonder her companions are about to be killed. And how they survived season 11 is beyond me.
And
how they survived this cliffhanger is going to be beyond me.
And he still bested her. I mean, he was still, he seemed more control than she was.
Right, exactly.
And in that scene where she confronted Lenny, I think what he was trying to convey was, look, I know she was basically saying, look, I know a thing or two about what's going on. Don't act like you think I'm ignorant and that I'm here's the things I know about you. But then she does the stupid thing of basically showing her hand, which is, I don't know. I need you to help fill in the blanks.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. You're right. She's so indecisive. Look, I know doctors have been tricked and fooled before, but this seems to be happening constantly with Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. But again, that is the writing and that is a flaw. So that's something negative that we can actually say. That is a flaw. I don't have any tinted glasses on. It's sad to hear real Doctor Who fans praising that muck. I mean, look, as I said, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. There were some elements of this that were very good. As I said, it was engaging. And I do agree with some people in the live chat that are saying this could be all smoke and mirrors. You're right. And we are cautious here. We're not saying, look, this is absolutely brilliant. This is Oscar worthy. It's nowhere near that level. Okay. We have set the bar low. Okay. So it's better than Series 11. And
but I mean, is that guy saying, I mean, really, is he saying that the whole thing was muck? Everything about it was muck? I mean, granted, I didn't think I thought Jodie Whittaker acted inept as usual. And yes, I thought there was, moments where Yasmin and Tosin Cole, I could have cared less. But some of the story elements and the way they the way they presented the villains, the way that the
way
set,
they presented the master.
Yeah, the set direction. I mean, excuse me, the scene direction. Some of that was pretty.
It was really good. Yeah. And even the deaths in it were pretty well done. I mean, they were actually gruesome.
I think the issues like this. Imagine if you have like a beautiful white cashmere sweater and you get one stain on it. It's ruined. Which is the thing, like that stupid line about the upgrade. Like, just why? Why?
There was no need for that.
You're already in
I
trouble.
agree,
You're
but
already
I found that hilarious. But I found that, see, this is what I think has happened. I think what's happened is, and I have to say it, I think what's happened is because there's so much hate for Series 11, when things like that do happen, everybody automatically loses their shit.
And we blow it out. Yeah, I agree. We blow it out of proportion.
We blow it out of proportion.
But that's why they need to stay away from it. They need to be really careful and not go there.
100% agree with you. I think they should stay clear of all that kind of stuff. But it was funny. It was actually fun because the reaction, it was actually funny. I thought it was funny because Graham's face is just like, what's going on here? Like,
right.
It is a good look. There was even the card scene, you said it yourself, that was, if it was someone else, it'd be funny. It's just everybody does. We dislike Jodie so much that I think that what's happening is when they do little things like this, we need to kind of remember we're not going to escape all of this wokeness. It's everywhere. What we have to do is we have to say, right, let's hope there's not as much in it this year than there was last year. And so far, one episode down. And I know you're disappointed because the bar is not set very high, but that's the reality of the situation that we're in right now. I mean, the best thing to happen right now would be to get rid of them all. I think
it's too early to judge, though. Because, like, by the first two episodes last year, I was like, okay, it's fine. It wasn't until they hit the third episode. And it was like the third episode when they start bringing the other writers.
That's when you'll know.
This is like The Mandalorian. I'm not prepared to like give say I like it or not till we hit the end of it. That's what they. Yeah. I can't like give early judgment on it.
I know what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%. We cannot make any true assessments on this era yet until we get into the third or fourth episode, possibly the fifth.
Well, so far it's got one up over a Series 11 because I wasn't bored watching this, and I was bored with Series 11.
Exactly. This isn't even a full episode, so.
Well, it is an episode, but it's like.
I mean, it's a full episode, but I'm saying it's not a full story.
Yeah, it's a two-part. It's a two-part story, and this is the first part. And so far, and as I keep saying, the bar is set low. It's an improvement on Series 11. But it was engaging. I'm sorry, I have to say. And I know people in the live comments are kind of saying, I disagree and all. And you're entitled to that opinion. You really are. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I can't force anybody to like it. But I actually this is the way I say it. Last year, I watched Series 11, the first episode, and I moaned all the way through. But you said that speech, my heart literally dropped out of my mouth, right? I was gutted, right? I was absolutely disgusted. This year, I sat down, and from minute one, I was engaged, right? So straight away, Chibnall has gotten one brownie point. That doesn't mean that he's won me over. He will never win me over. I can't wait until he's gone, until we get someone in that can actually bring this show to the level that it needs to be at, because I think he is. Jodie Whittaker is a weak lead. We know that. But he is the biggest issue that we have right now for this show. And he is the biggest he's the biggest creator of all the damage that's happening right now. Now he
compare the villain, the villain in the debut episode of season 11 to the villains in this episode. I mean, there's just Toothface.
Exactly. So again, brownie point there. Actually, we will compare it. Let's do that. Actually, let's try and compare it to the first opener of Series 11. What I can remember. Right. So we had a tooth villain. Right. Already one up on the villains this year. Right. We had some strange feckin'. Oh yeah,
some
at the
dude
end,
has
right.
to put teeth in his face.
That's right. Right. So the cliffhanger last year to the cliffhanger to series 11 to the cliffhanger of this. Right. No, sorry. The cliffhanger of the first episode of series 11 to the cliffhanger to the first episode of series 12, which was better. The cliffhanger to series 12 was.
What was the
miles
cliffhanger?
better.
I don't even remember the cliffhanger from
Oh,
series
they
11.
went-
That
do
should
you
tell you
remember-
something.
She transported them into space. Do you remember they were floating in space?
Oh,
like idiots?
yeah. And that went into the
that
Ghost
was a pretty good
Monument where
cliffhanger.
she couldn't find her TARDIS.
That was the cliffhanger.
That was the only cliffhanger of the season, I think.
That was the only cliffhanger. You're right. That was the only cliffhanger after
Right.
he said there wouldn't be cliffhangers.
So
but
this
that was the
cliffhanger is
cliffhanger.
better in that it wasn't based upon her complete incompetence, rather just on her being duped.
Exactly.
Right, and
Yeah,
that is a little
This
bit of
cliffhanger
improvement.
was based on her failure rather than her total failure.
Actually, yeah,
Right.
that's a bit of a theme there. See, again, that goes down to the writing. Look, I'm not saying that people should go out and embrace this series, right? As I said, we're here to do the reviews, and we will be here every week to do it, and we have another one again on Sunday. But the thing about it is, people are asking for my opinion, so I'm going to tell you, it was an improvement. I know some out there saying it's all over the place in parts. I would agree with that as well. But again, some of the writing wasn't getting, and we have to keep going back to the writing because that has been the biggest problem for me. I know Jodie Whittaker is out of the league. I said it from day one, right? So I don't need to keep repeating myself there. But the biggest problem for me has been the writing, and he has improved slightly.
Well, no one on this panel is praising the episode.
No
one.
we're just saying.
But I don't
it was-
understand why it's even perceived that way. We're just being fair.
Look, all the comments have been mixed. The impressions from everyone on this panel have been a mixed bag. There's no way around that. No one's saying that the episode is great. Everyone should go out and adopt this as
Buy the merchandise and all that.
Yeah, no one's saying that. It's a mixed bag. Everyone here agrees that the writing was fairly had its good moments, and and Jodie Whittaker as usual was subpar and inept, and it's really mixed. It's not black or white.
I would say this episode is better than a rectal exam, which is not really a great, a very high level to reach. Whereas most of the last season, I would have the exam, please, rather than those. If I could take that for the world, for the Doctor Who world, I would do, but I can't.
Yeah, series 11, I'd rather had an enema. That's watching that
exactly.
Again.
Yeah,
it's definitely better than a rectal exam. No question about that.
But we're in. I saw. So I don't know if you've actually waited until the end of the credits, because at the end of the credits, then we got a little sneak peek. I don't know if it was.
I didn't. We didn't.
I
don't think
it was
we watched
the next episode. So Paris on fire. So I think we're going back through time for the next episode.
Could that be the one dealing with the French resistance hero from World War II?
It could be. They could be going back through time. What is the second episode? Is it called Spyfall 2? Is it called Spyfall episode 2?
I really don't know.
Got a different name. Does anybody even know the name? Do you? Are you checking? Cheryl's going to check for me, because it'd be stupid if it actually is Spyfall 2.
But the thing about season 11, not to.
No, go ahead. Mate.
But the thing about season 11 was, what was the theme of a lot of those episodes? It was based on Earth. It was some historical bent, and I appreciated about now. I'm not praising it, but I was saying one of the positives about this was this was sci-fi. This was the villain. I forget which episode in Rosa.
Oh, we get the white racist guy with the leather jacket in Rosa.
Yeah, he came from another planet, and he was down on black people because I don't know.
They were unsuccessful, and
it was just weird.
All right, here I've got. By the way, guys, I've got the synopsis. Not the synopsis of. So it's Spyfall Part 2 is the second episode.
There you go. They must have put a lot into that one.
Yeah, and the third episode is called Orphan 55.
Okay.
Wow. Well, it's at least the names are getting easier this year. It's at least I'm not here getting
Right, the
muddled
Serenity
through
conundrum,
Yeah,
whatever.
Stronger conundrum.
Yeah.
I still can't. Even Kerblam I struggled with last year, but now I can actually say it. It takes me a year to try again. But there you go. Orphan 55. So far it's after getting an 8 on Spyfall is after getting an 8 on IMDb.
That's
an
a
8
little
point
high.
that's a little high, but
8.6 out of 10.
Woo.
So far.
Yeah,
that'll go down
not
though.
Hopefully.
That'll
we'll
go
see.
down.
Well, do you know what? We'll see.
Which episode did they watch?
I know, but I don't know. I've got a funny feeling. I just don't know. There's something in me that tells me that this is gonna appease enough fans that I think the ratings might actually go up. I don't think we're gonna see a fall now.
Yeah, well, again, we got to see where they go. If by episode 3, it was episode 3 last year where they started preaching, but they were preaching in a way that we were like, we couldn't really say anything. It wasn't until and for me, it was episode 5 where I'm like, oh, this is awful.
Arachnids?
So Arachnids. No, it was the one after. I even gave up Arachnids in the UK. I said, okay, what? They could have a terrible episode. Bad things there, but then when they went on to the one with the Tsanga conundrum, with the space bunny, I was like, "Oh, forget it, enough already."
Yeah,
pregnant man, and then they went to the partition of India. I was like, it was forget it. I'm not interested.
Right.
All right, but here's a question.
What?
Go ahead.
Well, no, finish your point. You were making a point. I interrupted you. I thought you were making a point. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, okay. You know what? Who knows? I ramble a lot.
My question was, and I think this is a pretty interesting question, would be, okay, look, if the quality of the writing and the quality of the show is such that this is what we can expect from every subsequent episode, right? That the whole season is at this level, or maybe slightly better, maybe slightly worse, but this is the average, right?
Right.
Would this result in, if the BBC gets the kind of reception that's somewhat positive, would this result in the BBC retaining Jodie Whittaker for the next season, for a season 3?
Yeah.
If it
13.
Excuse me, for a third season.
Yes.
Well, the rumor is she's supposed to be leaving at the start of series 13, but it could throw all that up if this is an improvement. Now, look, BBC actually think that series 11 was a success. So can you imagine? So no, but in all seriousness, right? Could you imagine if this is actually if this series actually turns out to be better than series 11?
Right. What would that
and
do?
Actually gets the numbers to reflect it. Well, then
okay.
they will be
BBC
patting each other on the back.
Success.
They'll be
I
patting
don't
each
think
other
they
on the
consider it
back.
success.
Do you not think so?
No, I think they say it's a success to give the impression of it being a success. They know the numbers. They know the numbers better than anybody else. They know they hemorrhaged 45% of their audience. Yeah. They know what happened. They know the audience feedback was negative. They know that this
they've got to put on a brave face.
Yeah, it was a brave.
So do you think their goal will be
a complete turnaround?
So do you think their goal will be to try and entice that 45% that left to try come back? Because I do.
Yeah, honestly, I think
that's why we're getting all these old villains is because of that.
Well, yeah, that's
exactly. I think that's exactly why we're getting old villains.
That's a gimmick. It's a gimmick.
Yeah,
but I did say if he pulls it off, if he gets it right, if the writing is good, then it might be something to marvel at. I'm not saying this is something to marvel at. It definitely isn't, but it is and we keep saying it, and I will keep saying it. It is a huge improvement on Series 11, but that, again, look, it's all if, buts, and maybes. We won't know until the second. We'll see how the second episode falls, because there's a lot going on in the first episode. But there's definitely going to be a lot to pack in the second episode, because that reveal at the end, and then just the way he left it. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens from there, because they're actually right now in this moment, well, not right now, but in the show, they're on an aeroplane that's actually about to crash. So it'll be interesting to see how Jodie gets out of that, because she doesn't have her TARDIS, by the way. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. Now, if they do the whole thing where the plane crashes and she survives, like they did when she fell out of the TARDIS and fell
I know
through a
I
bloody
said that.
train.
I was like, this is like the woman that, fell to Earth, and
she's not the plane. She's in that
Right, it's just her companions.
Right.
Yeah, but I think she was only sucked there, but she'll be brought back to that plane. She's going to be brought back to that plane, isn't she?
Oh, that's right.
There.
I don't know.
She'll be brought
She
back.
was in the never sphere or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. I think this is a twist on a way to I don't want to say torture, but a way to really punish her by making it appear that he's going to extinguish her companions. There's nothing she can do about it.
Well, she did look genuinely worried when she landed in that netosphere. Anyway, that end of that was actually quite good. And then you see all the strands coming down and and I was like, oh my God, it looks impressive. That scene looked impressive. So I'm actually intrigued. See, this is the thing. I'm intrigued. I want to see what happens. And Chris Chibnall, you pig, you're making us wait till Sunday.
It won't be long.
I know, but still,
It won't be long.
Making me wait till Sunday. I have to see what happens. But yeah, none of the companions are going to die in the plane crash anyway. We do know that.
Right. Well, I wish
at least two of them.
Well, I was hoping there'd be at least one, but
yeah.
Just keep Brandon Walsh, but the other two.
Bradley Walsh. Yeah,
Bradley Walsh.
Tolson Cole's performance wasn't great this week.
Yeah, he could go too. I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with just one companion.
Yeah, he got a praise last year, but he's not getting any this year because he was actually. Do you know what? It looks like he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah,
from him.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
it's like
he's got it on his CV.
It's like he's phoning it in or something.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate because it's not like he's got a booming career in the acting business. I mean, this is kind of his shot.
Yeah, exactly.
You might want to give it a little more enthusiasm.
He could go on to great things after this. I know this era has been pretty bad, but some of these could actually be successful after this. Bradley Walsh is okay because he has other projects that he has to chase. He'll be fine. I worry for Manip Gill. I don't think this has done her any favors. I actually don't think this series has done, or this era so far has done Jodie Whittaker any favors either.
No, it certainly hasn't.
No.
I
think she thought this would be a stepping stone for her to be major movies.
Yeah,
exactly.
Jodie Whittaker has not done Jodie Whittaker any favors.
No, and by the way, the only movie that she'll be in will be ones that will go straight to DVD
or straight to streaming.
That's it. She's not good enough. I'm sorry, but she is the weak link so far. And Manip Gill hasn't really improved, even though she got a bit more dialogue. And it looks like they're doing something interesting with our character. We just don't know yet. We have to see.
And here's the thing: if we want to talk about you want it to be balanced, so we're talking a little bit about the negative, but just focusing on Jodie Whittaker, and we talk about the progression from how she's improved. Well, I'll tell you, in my opinion, I saw a little improvement toward the beginning because I watched enough of season 11 that I can, I watched as much as I could tolerate, and from what I could see. Every time I turned around, I was getting annoyed. I mean, every time I turned around, and that's a bad sign because to me, there's a lot of things. Yeah, she didn't do as many scrunch faces. A lot of the facial expressions were toned down quite a bit. And that's great. But there was a lot that really, I thought, look, can you just not smile for maybe 5 minutes? Can you just keep those teeth? Under your lips for, just act serious and stop being so damn eccentric and goofy.
More of the serious side. I saw a couple glimpses and I'm like, okay, I want more of that.
Yeah, I'd like to see a more serious Jodie Whittaker. I mean, there's something in there, I think, and it needs to be tapped. But whether it's still good enough or not, that's going to be the issue. And this is the thing, if we have doubts about the lead, well then, if the lead is not right, even if the writing is an improvement, it's going to expose her and, it could all fall apart. And that's my worry for this. They've started off pretty sound, let's be honest. But where this ends up going and how if she can up the ante. Now, you made the point, Jason. I mean, she's done it for the whole of Series 11. Did you see any progression? There hasn't been any, but there has been a little bit now. But why only now would be the question I would ask as well.
But even now, what real progression has she?
11.
I mean, seriously.
No, ask why now. It's because this is the first time we've seen the response to the feedback from season 11, which was very negative.
Yeah.
They expected to be lauded, and they live in their bubbles, and they expect everybody to like just give them accolades and rounds of applause for being so divisive, because they didn't realize they're being divisive. And now they got scared, and this is the result of them being scared. I think this episode is in no small way due to the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it would be their best interest to start listening, because they live in their own echo chamber. You're right.
You can't expect to just put a woman in the role, and then that's the only qualifier. Is she a woman? Well,
that's exactly what they did. It's exactly what they did.
That's exactly, but that is, I agree with you. That's exactly what they did, and what they should have done was, if they wanted the woman in the role, and even though I do disagree with a woman playing the role, but if he had got someone with a bit more of a CV behind her, and that was actually more accomplished as an actress, and was actually a great actress as well on top of that. Then,
and you know what annoys me about that? What annoys me is that.
But the writing still be crap, Jason. That's the problem, though.
Yeah, but but what annoys me about that is, even if, okay, look, you can't just, it's not enough. I mean, you picked a woman, but you cannot criticize any of her qualities as an actor, because if you do, somehow you're being misogynist. I mean, give me a break. This would never apply in, say, the movie industry if you had a problem with it. In any other sphere of Hollywood, generally speaking, but the fact that this is a woman taking the place of a predominantly male role, and she's a woman, so you can't criticize her. That's just garbage.
Yeah, we've always criticized past doctors we didn't like. So I don't see what the problem is. Like, why can't we criticize her?
See, as I said off air, they talk about equality in society when it comes to men and women, but there never will be truly equality, because, as I've said earlier on, you could take a situation where a male is involved, and you get that very same situation where a female is involved. For example, say a female prisoner, a female murderer, and a male murderer, right? What the man will probably get life, or probably be sentenced to death, where the woman will get. What would she get? She'll get something like life or something. She won't die, whereas the man will always die. There'll never be true equality when you have people coming out and saying, well, you can't say that about a woman. There'll never be true equality in society.
But this is about acting ability. I mean, it's one thing to say, look, it's one thing to talk about the equality issue. Okay, fine. I mean, whether you agree, disagree. But the point is, if I don't like the way someone is acting a part, it has nothing to do with, it's extraneous to their gender. I mean, if I just don't like you as an actor, what does that have to do with what's between your legs?
Exactly. I agree, but that's what it's boiled down to.
It's getting ridiculous.
It's what they hide behind. It's come down to. Some reporter put up, he was talking about, I think it was Star Wars or something, and he was talking about that kiss or something. And it was, I think it was Rose Tico or something, the fact that she wasn't in the film that much.
She wasn't in it very much.
And they're talking about representation, but that's what it's all about for them now, Jason. It's all about representation. They don't care if these characters actually don't have stories. It's just that the character goes and, say, ships with another character. That's all they're interested in.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Jodie bots are interested in.
Here's the thing. You can criticize. I mean, I think you should be able to criticize a female on her acting ability. I don't think she should be exempt just because she's female. I mean, that's just stupid.
Yeah, but this is what these Jodie fans they do consistently, because that's all they have.
Yeah,
that's all they have. And
they just want representation,
and they're going to continue to do it.
And they just want the ship. Sure, they've been trying to ship the Doctor and Yasmin Khan for the whole.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you get down to being, basically, I see this as This is manipulative. You're using criticism of me as a person who may not like the characters of a female actress as a way to dismiss my criticism. It's not about.
That's exactly what they're doing.
You're
That's
just using it as a weapon to dismiss a criticism that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a lot of the drive of the wokeness in entertainment. It has the added benefit of making their work criticism proof. You can't like it because they did that. We saw they did that. It was last with everything that they did terribly. They said, "Oh, you just don't like seeing representation." No, we just don't like seeing crap.
They think shaming us is going to make us shut up, but
that didn't really work out so well.
No.
Listen, we got them on the run far more than it appears.
Yeah,
I don't know. They basically named so. Did they mention YouTubers in this episode?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But just stop trying to dismiss criticism because they don't even care whether they're not even. It's a way to just say, look, you're dismissed from the table. We don't agree with you. Right. We're not even going to examine what you're saying because you use a word like we don't want a female doctor for whatever reason. Doesn't matter, whether she's good, bad, or indifferent. The fact you don't want a female doesn't matter the reason. It's just the fact that you have a problem, and they want to use that and dismiss it and say, well, you know what? You just don't like females. And that's just stupid.
And that goes back to what Noel was saying about the BBC. The BBC did that to us fans. That's what they did. They dismissed our criticism and did the same thing that the Jodie fans were doing.
Yeah, and then had a go at the fans, you see. See, the thing about it is, you know why there's such disdain for Chris Chibnall? Chris Chibnall got the opportunity actually to air his grievances back in the day. He was the head of the Doctor Who. He was the head of some Doctor Who association, and he got the chance to sit in front of the producers of Doctor Who and actually question them. And he wasn't actually too nice to these people either. He actually criticized their work. Now we fast forward to today, and we're not allowed to criticize his work like he got that right and privilege all those years ago. So there's a bit of hypocrisy there as well, and that's why fans don't like him, because we're not allowed to criticize his era. We're not allowed to criticize his choice for the Doctor, and we're not allowed to criticize the kind of politics that they want to put in the show. And did you notice that the poster said "Space for All"? Now we know where that's all coming from. They are desperately trying to win us back. Is this series going to win me back to watching Chris Chibnall Doctor Who and getting on board with it? No. But it was an improvement on what he has given us in the past. We just see where it takes us. It's what I will say is, this is going to be, I said it a few weeks ago, this is going to be a very interesting series to review, and it looks like that's going to be true. We might have started off okay, but next week we could be sitting here, the whole lot of us, and we could have had an absolute shit show on our hands. So we don't know. It could go either way. And in a way, it is a little bit exciting, because we don't know which way it's gonna
go.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
It's not so straightforward this time, so that makes it interesting.
It does make it interesting, and do you know what? I don't know what he's done different, but keep it up. But you still have a long way to go. I mean, his writing still.
He added in villains. That's what he did different. He added in villains,
and he did great casting with the Master. I have to agree with you, Noel. I think that was really. I wasn't sure, but by the end, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, it was very intimidating. It was,
if I put my tinfoil hat on just for a second, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that some of these ratings are actually manipulated. But that's,
you're going to get that. See, what's going to happen is the J-bots are going to be out in force tonight, and they're going to be up on they're going to be marking it up. They're going to be rating it up. So they're going to give it a 5 rating wherever they go, right? They're going to do that all serious, okay? Because they're going to try and make this series look, that's what I'm saying. We're going to be honest and balanced on this channel. No way was this spectacular. It wasn't. But they're gonna make it look like it is, and I do agree with you. There's gonna be a lot of manipulation done. I just hope it does even out.
I think it'll go. It'll lower. I mean,
we'll say it'd be interesting to see what the overnights are going to be like, and then what the 7-day figures are going to be like. Next Wednesday is going to be interesting to see what figures we get. Can I ask you?
Also, this is New Year's Day, so it's going to get a little bump.
It will, yeah, it definitely will. It depends. It's no way going to get the numbers that the first episode of Series 11 got. It's not going to get 11 million. No way. What would you rate this episode out of 10? 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. What would you give it out of 10?
6.5.
Well, why don't we break it down into what you'd give the writing and then what you'd give the acting?
That's because what I was thinking too.
I think that's how I would, because to give it an overall rating is
fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, so who wants to start first?
I would probably give the episode an 8 out of 10.
Right.
And I would give the acting 1 out of 10. I mean, other than as far as Jodie Whittaker.
Okay.
So you understand what I mean?
On the whole.
She was the only actress, so okay, I'll be fair. Right. 5 out of 10 on the acting, 8 out of 10 episode.
Right. That's fair enough.
I'd probably go for a 7 out of 10 for the writing. I don't think it's the finest hour. I mean, maybe even 6.5, but I would lean towards 7 on the writing. I would probably lean toward. Oh man, if you had to ask me about the acting, it's down in the 4s, probably low 4s, maybe 4 point. I mean, Stephen Fry lifted up, but he can't carry the weight of the show. I mean, give me a break.
No, I agree. He can't. Go ahead, Rabbi.
I would say 6.5 for the writing, and for the acting. Although it's hard because that's giving a 1 for Jodie. And a 7 or 8 for
it's a little more difficult doing it that way.
You got to average it out, Rabbi.
If you could take Jodie Whittaker out, I will give this episode a 7 or 7.5.
Right,
but I can't. So 6.5 and for the writing and 4 for the acting.
Okay.
That's good. I would give the writing personally a 7. I thought it was solid enough. I do agree with Jason and the rest of the panel. There's still a long way to go, but we're going in the right direction. As for the acting, I said it to Cheryl the second time I was watching the episode that I'm still not a fan of Jodie Whittaker's acting, and she still hasn't convinced me, and that is the case. Now, for Series 11, I would have gave her acting a 0. But for Series 12, I am going to give it higher than everybody, actually. I'm going to give it a 3 because there was a few moments in that episode that she genuinely did convince me, especially when she knew she was screwed over. I think the look on her face there was actually priceless, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that raises it to a 3.
So for the rest of them, I thought Tolson was pretty average. So he'd get a 1. So the 4. Manip Gill, they did something interesting with her, but she's still bland, so she gets a 0. I still don't like her. And Stephen Fry was probably the best in that episode. He'd get a 7 or 8. Bradley Walsh would probably get a 7 or 8. So average it out. I'll give the acting a 5.5. The writing, what did I say? The writing is 7.
7.
Oh yeah, the acting still has a lot. I'll tell you, this is how I'll put it. The supporting cast did better than the main cast.
Exactly.
Bradley Walsh was reliable. He's still reliable. He just didn't get enough decent dialogue, in my opinion. But he's not going to get a low mark from me. But that's the way I'd put it. I think the supporting cast played it better than the main cast.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, outside of the Master, who would be considered the main cast, but of course, for most of the show, he didn't really expose himself as the Master, so you take that into account.
Right.
A lot of people are still not liking this master. Can I actually ask you why you don't like this new master? And I'll put some of your comments up if you will allow me. Because I'm just interested to see why you don't like him. Like I disagree. Everybody's comparing him to John Sims' master. I think you really need to go back and watch John Sims' master.
I don't see that either.
I don't see it. I really don't. Why? Because he went a bit crazy on the plane. Sorry, that was 3-4 levels above what John Sim has ever done.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That's more to me. It was more classic level, and maybe I'm being just generous.
Yeah, but did you think he was classic level before he exposed himself as the master?
No. But I think once he did, it really gave me classic feelings.
For that 3 minutes that he was the master.
Yeah, for the 3 minutes.
That was convincing.
Right.
But other than that.
Well, Gary at Nerdrotic, I listened to his review right after the episode, and he hated it. He hated the master. He felt the acting was just way too over the top.
Wow.
Just like it was too stilly. For me, it kind of worked, but he really hated it.
Wow. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, but look, I mean, he's a long-term fan like us, but he has some people take. Let's be honest, some people have taken this era really hard, and no matter what they do in this, some people believe Doctor Who is dead already. So.
Right, so they're already closed off.
Yeah, I mean, the people like Gary will need to be convinced a little bit more. And I still need to be convinced. I'm not convinced 100%. I'm just I'm just trying to be a bit balanced here. As I said, there is some good elements. There is some bad elements, but there wouldn't be enough bad elements this year than there was last year. And I have to be honest about that. But look, different. I love Gary's channel. I've had Gary on my channel. We're not always going to agree on everything. I mean, Gary will either see an improvement or he won't, and that's just the way it is. I saw a slight improvement. Some people just have different levels of expectation. I think that's what it is. I mean, I've tried to be a bit more balanced now, and I think I have. I'm not saying this is it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. It does have some bad moments, but it has a lot more good. And I did like the villains, but some people are not going to like that, and that's fine. That's fair enough. I will actually listen to his review after this. Will be interested to see what he has said. And it'll be interesting to see what my good friend Ballstrecker also has to say.
I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to what he has to say about it.
Ballstrecker's not going to be happy.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree. I don't think it's gonna be his impression is gonna be a good one.
No, I don't think so. And again, I still love the guy, and I always will. Look at this. Some people are just. I'm not saying they're more hurt, but some. But I understand.
But I understand it. But I do understand it. Yeah.
I do get it. I do get it. And look, again, I would say nobody on this panel is saying by any means that this is brilliant. It's not, but it's definitely an improvement. And I keep saying it, and I know I keep repeating myself, but that master reveal. But I actually want to know why people have a problem. Is it the whole character he played at the start and then the reveal of the master, or you just don't like him playing as the master when he revealed himself? I'm very curious to know why, because I do not think he was anyway like John Sim. He's a lunatic. This fella convinced me that he would actually put a knife in you. Trust me.
Right.
It's like
I'm looking at the comments. I think people are on the same page as me.
It's
crazy. I think they'll feel basically the same.
See, here's the thing. We've lowered the bar, right? Whereas Gary has still set the bar high, and that's his right. I've just lowered the bar because I think, I was very critical of Series 11. I have been very critical of Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, and I thought it was time to be a bit more balanced, because I have been accused on this channel of being a bit one-sided, and that could be true to say.
You can only be honest.
So I'm just, yeah, and I do be honest, and that's the thing. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm going to be more open-minded this year. But so far, everything is great. I hope you got my hashtag Noel. Hashtag Noel was right. And that was a £2 super chat by Garbage. And I think you're my first super chat, my friend. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
I salute you, Mr. Garbage. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. My first super chat. We remember,
Wow.
so we all remember now who gave me my first super chat, Garbage. Thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, I know that's why they took down the Spyfall video, because I got everything spot on, actually. Not that I didn't just get one piece of information right. I got it all right. I said the plane was going to crash. I said the master was going to reveal himself right at the end. And you know what? I could say it now because it won't be copyrighted. But I said all this. I even said the character he was going to play was, oh my God. And even when he said it, I was like, I kept saying, Sharon, I got it right. Sharon, got it right. I was like a little kid, but oh my God. I think he's brilliant. I'm sorry, I'm going to defend him. And as I said, I've seen some people on Twitter use the race card. It's ridiculous. Look, I know people hate this. Hey, look, I know people hate this era, right? I know there's disdain for Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall. But you know what? We've had 2 years of negativity, haven't we? Let's think about, since she's been cast, there's been nothing but negativity, right? Chris Chibnall.
Look, it's nice to be nice about something for once. I hear what you're saying. It's nice to be nice.
For once, Chris Chibnall gave us something decent, and I'm acknowledging that. But by no means am I saying he's there. He is still way off. But the weak link, and it has been proven, unfortunately, is Miss Whittaker and Manip Gill. And do you know what? It actually annoys me that she's getting more of a character arc now, because if she's that bad in that episode, because there was still nothing. There was still nothing from her, and even Tolson Cole was disappointing in this episode. Bradley Walsh didn't get a chance to really shine that much either. It was all about Stephen Fry's little cameo and Lenny Henry, let's be honest with you. Can I add you, did anybody like the scene at the start where she was underneath the TARDIS? Because I actually didn't like that scene for some reason.
No, oh my God, stupid. No.
I'm always disappointed to see her.
Yeah.
I'm like,
she never ceases to disappoint.
And it was like, what was she saying? Fixing this to get the spa or the swimming pool in, and I'm changing this, and I was like, oh, will you stop?
You know, she plays it off as like a mom. And I got that vibe from that, like, you know, she's waiting for her fam, like she's the mom.
No, you know what I get. You know what I get from her? It's children's television. I mean, she's like the host of a children's television show.
By the way, has anybody not actually noticed? Because Charles had to bring this to my attention. Oh, someone mentioned it in the chat. Yeah, so Matt Smith, when he used to fix the TARDIS, he'd only go underneath the central console. Remember, under the glass floor. Why did Jodie Whittaker actually have to go outside the TARDIS, underneath the actual TARDIS? By the way, just to envision this, guys, right? So she's at a garage where they fix cars, and she has the TARDIS up on a car lift.
Makes sense.
I thought that was cute. I like that. But but seeing her just made me
goggles on. Yeah, she had
to no, it's for me. It's like coming up to 2:20 in the morning, so I'm gonna have to go in a minute. Can I give a shameless plug? Because all the way through season 12, we're going to be doing giveaways on my channel of Doctor Who DVDs. No this is the next one going out.
Right. Wow.
This one is the Dalek Wars, Frontier in Space, and Planet of the Dalek. I upgraded to the Blu-ray, so I got the DVDs to give away. If all you got to do is subscribe to my channel, and I'll tell you the hashtag to put in a comment or a share, and then you can win it. I'm going to give doing one of these a week. Yeah, I'll put my channel in the link.
I was going to say that to you. If you could put your channel in the live chat there, the moderator that normally does it for me is not here, so because I still don't know how to do it. I'm hopeless.
I just put it in.
Guys, just subscribe to the channel. And you're also doing your own reviews as well, aren't you?
Oh yeah. I'm
Yeah.
subtly putting out like two videos a day right now. So
Great.
who knows what I could be talking about?
And we'll have you back on this panel again Sunday if you're up for it.
Great. I'm so up for it.
No problem. No problem.
Fantastic.
Right.
All right.
It was good meeting you, Rabbi.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye.
You too. Look after yourself, Rabbi. Goodbye. Nice to have him on board.
Yeah, I love his channel.
So, Noel, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, were you impressed with the master through the entire episode, or was it during just specifically the reveal? What do you when you say you're highly impressed? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but what was your take in terms of the entire episode, though?
Well, when I met him, when he said to the guards, "Oh, there's the doctor and the Tardis," I was like, "Well, I knew who he was. So if I hadn't have known, I'd be like." He wasn't a character that I thought is going to stick out. I will admit it's the reveal that I'm talking about.
Okay.
And him becoming him actually saying he's the master, and then his whole mood, demeanor and mood changed, and you could see that he was a psychopath. That's what I love. That's the part I love. Before that, he wasn't really doing anything, but he was dropping hints. That was the thing.
Right, when he went in the TARDIS. When he went in the TARDIS, I mean, I knew anyway.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, okay, I see the game he's playing.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like very classic feel, and I kind of figured it, but I knew it anyway because I told him, I'm like, oh, that's the master.
Yeah, even his reaction wasn't even normal. It was like he didn't even actually check around. Not the way everybody always.
Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting.
He just had a look at it, had a big goofy smile.
Yeah, and the look he had looked a little psychotic. Something. Okay, yeah.
That's what I mean. You could see, and I think Pam actually mentioned it there. You could slowly see the transition in each scene. Every time he was doing something a little bit odd, you'll see it. It's actually a little bit clever what was done. I don't know if Chris Chibnall wrote this on his own.
Well, it says in the beginning, but that doesn't mean anything. We all know that.
Exactly, because this doesn't. I'm being honest with you. Did you not think this didn't feel like a Chris Chibnall episode? Because
no, I don't think I've ever liked a Chris Chibnall episode in my life. So something's wrong.
Something is wrong. There's something not right here.
Well, I don't think sci-fi is his forte generally. I mean, based on his historical reference, it just seems that sci-fi has been out of his wheelhouse.
And maybe it is. Look, see, this is the thing as well. It's like my football team now at the moment. They're gone shit. And it's like the new manager is there and it's a learning process. Maybe this is a learning process for Chris Chibnall. No, I'm just saying because I'm trying to be balanced here. Maybe it is a learning process for Chris Chibnall, and maybe patience is a virtue. But at the same time, as a fan, I can't sit back and watch the show's ratings drop and watch the quality of the show drop. I mean, all well and good, he becomes this great sci-fi writer years to come, if that's the case. But right now, he is not the man to be leading this show. He needs someone to work with, or someone that's a showrunner with him. I wouldn't mind if they put someone else in with him and the both of them could work together, because the other showrunner could see the stupidity of his writing and say, Art, I think we should change that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Here's the thing. I'll ask you, Noel. And I'm asking this for a reason. So this isn't an end question in itself, but did you approve of Davison?
Peter Davison?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. He was my doctor growing up.
Okay. I'm asking because
I know they changed. I know.
Who believe Peter Davison was a very dark period in movie history. But
he was my doctor when I was growing up as a kid. So I mean, as a kid I was oblivious to all of that.
Sure.
Stuff.
But looking back, if you look at history, there have been dark periods. I think according to some fans, not yourself, but according to some fans, that would be a very low period.
Colin Baker as well.
Colin Baker maybe as well. So
yeah.
The concern would be if the quality of the show doesn't improve, what would it do to the legacy? Because every time you release an episode or every time you release a season, there's a certain level of expectation. if
True.
they don't deliver, that expectation slowly starts to drop every
Yeah.
subsequent season
Everywhere.
until eventually the legacy of the show, people eventually go from like the excitement to, you know, a little less
Dread.
excitement to eventually it's like, so
Well, you look what they did with the classic era. I mean, under Sylvester McCoy, it actually started to improve, but the damage was already done
Right.
previously. So they cancelled it. So this is the legacy. You talk about the legacy. Well, the legacy, you know, in '89 when it finished up, it was that was it. It was gone. I went through a period of no Doctor Who on the TV. This is what I fear now is going to happen again. But God knows how long it will actually stay away for this time.
but there's so much feedback that you'd have to be absolutely blind to attribute the issue to something other than maybe the writing or the acting. There's enough feedback to let them know that, look, it's not because there's no interest in Doctor Who. Doctor Who has passed its prime. It's simply because you're making choices that are leading to these inadequacies.
Exactly. But then when you say that to them, then there's this arrogance that, well, you don't know best, you're in the wrong. We know what's best for the show. And this is the kind of thing that we see all over the place from all these people. They think they do know best and they don't listen to the fans. If they did listen to the fans, then they'd be in a much better position right now. We're not
right, but it leads to the conclusion that, okay, if we can't shove this down your throat, then we're just going to cancel it.
Oh no, but see, the new thing is now is that they'll keep shoving it down your throat, and they'll keep doing it to a point where the show will never be able to recover. They don't mind dragging Doctor Who through the mud because.
But you got to admit, though, there has been some receptivity to feedback. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been certain changes.
Right, like the monsters and the.
Yeah, true, and he did have a little dig at the fans with that line. That he put in the episode tonight. You can clearly see, by the way, just to actually confirm to people in the live chat, Chris Chibnall said he doesn't actually read reviews. Well, he lied because tonight's episode proved that he did, because he put in a couple of jokes that were specifically aimed at fans that have a problem with a female doctor. There was a couple of moments in that, but the thing about it is there wasn't that many compared to what that there was last year. And this is what we're saying. There was less of that. The writing was a slight improvement on last year. Jodie Whittaker has toned down her performance. The question I would ask fans is that good enough? And I know the answer already. It's not going to be good enough. So we just have to see where this show brings us now. We've got what, 9 more episodes?
Yeah, 9 more.
We've got 9 more episodes, so we see where those 9 episodes bring us. But it's certainly interesting.
But how much of the changes on Chibnall's part are the result of Chibnall deciding I need to make a change versus maybe the higher ups of the BBC saying, look, ratings are, you know, we need to make some changes, whether you like it or not.
Well, Chibnall, if reports are true, and everybody has actually seen these reports, these newspaper reports. So part of the deal was when Chris Chibnall took over showrunner, is that one of the things that he wanted was to introduce a female doctor. So that's common knowledge. Everybody knows that. Now he did say that he did audition men and women, but his preference was towards a female doctor. So apparently he was the one that pushed the female doctor narrative. BBC weren't sure, but went with it anyway because they didn't want to lose him. Because basically Chris Chibnall gave ridiculous demands to the BBC. He actually thought they'd refuse those demands because he really didn't want to actually take the show on board when they asked him, because he had refused it a few years back. Moffat apparently wasn't supposed to get it. Chibnall was asked first. He turned it down. Moffat got it. And then Chibnall was asked again. He made these crazy demands. BBC actually went with it, and he basically realized, oh fuck, I actually have to write something here now, and that's when we got Series 11. He actually thought BBC wouldn't give in to his demands, because BBC is, let's be honest, we've had a male doctor for over 50 years. and people would consider that in today's society as sexist. You know, you got to move with the times. I disagree. You know, there's nothing sexist to having a male character that has existed for over 50 years. What is wrong with that? You know?
Nothing. I guess what I'm saying is, though, he seems hard-headed. He seems like if you left it up to Chris Chibnall, we just get a whole batch of whatever he served last round. So what I'm asking is, who really decided that these changes were necessary in the writing? If you ask me off the top, and this is just my, uneducated opinion, I would be tempted to say that it wasn't strictly his decision, that he was kind of told, look, we need to make some changes.
Well, we do know, again, you're right there, because we do know that the BBC wanted them to bring in some old villains, and he has actually come out and said that he doesn't like the Daleks and the Cybermen, which is interesting because they're the ones that he actually brought back. Resolution was the first time of the U-turn because that's where we got the Dalek. He had actually said it. He didn't like he was interviewed. He doesn't like the Daleks. He doesn't like the Cybermen. I think he tried to use the Weeping Angels, but he was basically told "F you," because they're Moffat's creation. Why would he want him to ruin his creation?
Well, if that's the case, then I would tend to think that they said, "Look, we got to go for more sci-fi."
That's it. You've got to rein yourself in. You've gone crazy, which he did. I don't mind him making changes, Jason. Right? Nobody does. We don't mind. The show has to
Evolve.
Evolve and rejuvenate itself. No problem with that. The only problem that Doctor Who had, right, was the writing had gone stale under Moffat. That was the only problem. There was nothing else wrong with it. He had kind of changed Doctor Who into a kind of sci-fi fantasy thing. It was kind of got more fairy tale-y and stuff. Like he kind of abandoned the sci-fi a little bit. There was still a little bit in it. There was enough to keep you interested, but it was mostly all, nobody ever dies. You couldn't kill off companions and stuff like that.
Who came up with the Robin Hood concept?
That was Mark Gatiss, I think it was. Yeah, I think that's his episode. So, that's his episode, the Robin Hood one, I think.
Wasn't really into that, but okay.
No, but again, they're the type of things that were actually ruining the show. It was the writing that was the problem, and that's all it's ever been, is the writing. Everything else was fine. You had Peter Capaldi was not the wrong Doctor. There's fans out there that actually think he was too old. Well, if you think if you think that, then you were never a Doctor Who fan, because the Doctor in the classic era, especially if you look,
William Hartnell.
Started off with an old guy. So this is the type of stuff that we're getting for fans. But
you're talking. I mean, these are progressives you're talking about, and they think that everything should change, including the age range.
Yeah, well, they can work as long as I'm around, and fans like me, we will fight that stuff, because I'm telling you, this is the problem. We're getting out of hand. It's not just TV shows or films, music. It's society as well. Even what our kids are being taught in schools and colleges and stuff. It's all getting out of hand. There just seems to be.
Well, it's all over the place.
It's everywhere, and where does it end? We will probably. We've got a long way to go. But just getting back to Doctor Who and Spyfall, are you excited now for the second episode? Has it made you more excited? Are you cautiously still optimistic like I am? Because I'm still cautiously optimistic.
I'm cautiously optimistic, but I am intrigued. I honestly didn't think I would like it at all, anything about it, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it was nice to watch a good sci-fi. At least it had sci-fi in it, so that made me happy.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I was expecting this to be absolutely rubbish, and it wasn't.
I was too. And at first I was like Cheryl. I kind of was. I had my little. I was making notes, and I was like, it was all negative, and then because the first part kind of bothered me, especially when she was underneath the TARDIS, and she was, to me, she was acting like a mom. And that fam thing. And I found myself, okay, just forget she's there. Just concentrate on the story. And then I was able to get into it.
Yeah. Well, we've got next week, not next week, Sunday.
Yeah.
now to look forward to. His age had nothing to do with it. It was Capaldi was a bad actor.
No. Oh, no. That's fighting words now, buddy.
Oh,
Hopefully you don't
God.
believe that.
Oh, good Lord, no. Because
Okay.
I'm a huge Capaldi fan. You're on the wrong chat.
Okay. Yeah.
But the thing about the next episode that I'm interested to see what happens to that degree, right? I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I'm just not looking forward to seeing Jodie Whittaker again.
Yeah. That's the
all.
thing. That's it. And again, we just it is going to be very interesting Sunday. Jason, I'd love to have you back on again on Sunday if you fancy it.
If I can swing it, I'll definitely come back on.
If you have the time, I'd love to have you back on again sometime because this was great. I suppose that's everything we've really got to say.
Yeah,
about
we pretty much covered it all.
I mean, we actually did cover a lot. I mean, if you want to go and watch it, go and watch it. If you don't, I'm not going to tell you to go and watch it. But what I will say, and as we've all said, it is an improvement on Series 11, but we are only one episode in, as we said. And
the bar has been set extremely low.
Yeah, and the bar has been set extremely low. But we are only through one episode of a 2-part story. So, under Moffat, remember this now, because I have to bring fans back down to earth. We've had 2-part stories before under Moffat. We'd get a great first episode, and then the second one would be absolutely dire.
It would be filler, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what Chibnall produced, because we do know he has written both of these stories. So we'll see what happens in the second episode.
And at the rate of improvement but from season 11 to season 12, that's an incremental improvement. But at this rate, how many more years is it going to take to rise to the level of a regular, good Doctor Who episode? So that's I would give it another maybe 10, 12.
That's an interesting question. How far? Right. So we're saying this was decent enough for Chibnall, but if this was, say, in a Moffat era or a RTD era, and this was an RTD or a Moffat episode story in their eras, where do you think it would rate if it was still written by Chris Chibnall?
It would be a filler episode. It would probably be,
assuming that a different doctor was heading the role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd probably wouldn't rate as high.
Yeah.
Wouldn't rate as high, but I'd still like it. Yeah.
It would be a filler. Maybe average. I mean, I wouldn't say filler. I mean, that's hard. We have a different doctor. It would be average compared to Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat. I mean, even their filler days are better. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. That's why I asked that question, because I kind of want to make guys in the live chat understand that that's what we're not saying that this is brilliant. The bar has been set so low, but at the end of the day, I am intrigued so far. Those villains are definitely worth a look. I will say that if you don't want to watch the full episode, I'm sure someone will throw clips up. It's worth looking at. And if people can watch the Masters reveal, I'd actually watch that and tell me what you think of the acting. He's gotten quite a mixed reaction, I have to say, even on Twitter as well. So I think people will judge him on his second episode. I think right now people are, it's a first
reserving
impression.
Judgment.
Yeah, and it's a first impression as well. You've got to remember we took 2 hours after the episode to come on, so we let the information sink in and watch it a second time as well, just to make sure we didn't miss out. But the story was interesting. The villains were interesting. Jodie Whittaker is definitely a weak link, but Stephen Fry's small cameo was very good. Lenny Henry, I'm not a big fan of Lenny Henry anyway, but his performance was decent enough for what he had to do.
I don't know
But
much. I don't know much about him, but I thought I don't know. I've never seen him in anything, so this is my first time. But he was okay. I thought he was interesting. I think in some ways he definitely outacted her. I don't know what that says, but
he was all right.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah, see, this is where the test will be, though, guys, right? Because they've had a fairly straight run tonight because it is New Year's Day. So the schedule wouldn't be quite as bad for them. But next, on Sunday, they're actually up against Dancing on Ice and Top Gear. So this is the thing now. We'll see what the ratings are for the first episode. But the second episode is going to be very interesting because it is up against Dancing on Ice. And for anybody that doesn't live in the UK, Dancing on Ice is a pretty actually big show on ITV, I think it is. So it gets a lot of viewers. So it'll be interesting to see how it does. And if it's going up again, I don't really worry about it going up against Top Gear because Top Gear's ratings have plummeted since they got rid of the hamster and Jeremy Clarkson and James May. I always nearly forget James May because he's the boring one. But
in the United States, we've got a show called Dancing with the Stars. So
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was because it's a show that's popular. I think it's awful, so I wasn't sure if it was.
It's like one of those shows, but on ice. They also have that. They also have that other crap. It's called what's that dancing show they have on BBC?
Strictly Come Dancing.
Strictly Come Dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strictly Come Dancing.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what they said. Yeah, I was just letting them know what was. Yeah, Strictly Come Dancing here. Yeah, and we have an Irish one which is cringeworthy. If you can get YouTube channels of the Irish one, go and check it out. It's cringy. Yeah, we tried to be like the Brits do with this big production, but it just looks small and shitty. And then the so-called celebrities that you have on it. Jesus Christ, man! I walk past half of them in the street, for God's sake.
Well, at least it's on ice.
No, but this one isn't. The Irish one was. No, that would be funny.
Okay, never mind.
Oh no, you don't want to see Irish people on ice skates. No way, that wouldn't work.
Well, that might be a comedy in the making.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would. Give them lots of alcohol.
There we go. That's a show idea in itself.
I'd watch that. I have to say.
Extra Spice, Mikey said he's just saw the episode. So just before we do click off for the night, what did you actually think of the episode? I see there you wrote, the Master really does not feel like the new Master at all. In what way? I mean, are you trying to say he doesn't feel like the Master yet? Or are you trying to say, the Master does not feel like the new Master at all? Are you gonna? I think I know what you're going to say. He's like John Sims' Master, like everybody else. I have to disagree again. I'm sorry. I'm gonna defend him. Watch that. Look, go and watch that clip again, guys, and then watch a John Sim clip. Right, I'm telling you, there's a huge difference, man. The level of performance in Sasha is 10 times better. I'm convinced he's an absolute lunatic. John Sim acted like a lunatic, but I was never convinced. This guy has convinced me. Look at his eyes. Watch his eyes. That's where it is. That's where the performance is. It's not even what he's saying. Watch his eyes, and his eyes will draw you in. He's a lunatic. That guy would stab you in the face if you were asleep. Trust me, he wouldn't give a crap. And the way he got one over on Jodie's doctor, trust me, I cheered, man.
Yeah, I was really happy.
I was rooting for the Master. When has anybody ever rooted for the Master? Someone said that earlier. When has anybody ever rooted for the Master? Come on. And we're not just rooting for because he was a genuinely very, very good. Seriously, it was brilliant. That little reveal. It wasn't the greatest reveal as in like
of all time.
Of all time, but it's just the way. Again, I have to give Jodie Whittaker credit because if she didn't act as fool as she did in that scene, I don't think I would have bought it. That was only one of the few times that she actually convinced me that she was actually decent enough.
Well, that means she's capable, but she just needs to just tune in. You just harness that.
Well,
I don't know if
how much of that dynamic, that impression that he was such a great, his performance was so great. how would that perception how might have that perception changed if it had been a really capable doctor in that scene?
Oh man.
Would have been elevated even higher. That's what I mean. You're right. It's if the actor, but again, the writing is an improvement. But I look at it from Series 11 terms, and it's still not. And if we compare it to what we've gotten in the past, this is still not,
Oscar worthy compared to Series 11.
yeah, but this is still not a great
But
standard.
it's not. But it's not.
It's
no.
not classic era. Even the worst classic era stories are better.
Yeah.
To be honest, it still has a long way to go, but we'll see where these threads go, because there's a couple of interesting things that happened in that episode, and it's going to be very interesting. I have my own little theories, as you heard earlier, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's what I will say. It's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Agree.
Right, guys, we will leave it at that. What you call it? We'll be back on Sunday. So the both of you is up for coming on Sunday.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. That's brilliant. Jason, if you can, let us know anyway. Short blue bonnet.
Sure thing.
We call it blue bonnet. Who? If you want to give your channel a shout.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you got a YouTube channel, Jason? That you?
No, I don't have anything to promote. I'm
okay.
I'm on my own here. I don't have any channel.
Okay. And Blue Bonnet, as I says, has the shortest.
I'm a simple person.
channel.
I just review streaming shows, Doctor Who, that type of thing. I buy useless stuff, not useless, but I buy Doctor Who stuff and I review it, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was just looking at Extra Spice Mikey's comment. Yeah, that was cringy. I'm not going to say, but I actually found that funny because Bradley Walsh's face was just hilarious. And Stephen, look, I know people don't like the agenda, and I don't myself, but at the end of the day, you know, there was 2 or 3 little bits in it, but that's all there was, and the writing was steady. It's nothing amazing or spectacular, but we'll see what happens on Sunday, because Sunday is going to be, as I said, it's going to be very interesting. And I'm actually, you know, looking forward to Sunday, and I haven't.
And we haven't done that for what, since 2017.
Exactly. So that says a lot.
That is something. So it's baby steps.
Exactly. Everybody knows me. You know how hard I've been on this era. That's it. Yeah, and but I have to give credit where credit is due. And yeah, we'll see what happens Sunday anyway.
Sounds good.
Okay. Right, listen, guys, I've got to go. Jason, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, it was great meeting you.
Well, it was actually good having you on, because, as you said, you're a little bit of an outsider when it comes to Doctor Who. So it's actually great to get your opinions and thoughts on it, actually, because, you know, this era, if we go by Chris Chibnall, what he said last year, this series was more aimed at people like yourself that are casual viewers. So to hear your thoughts on it is actually been pretty amazing. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome.
And both just have a great new year.
All right, you too.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
See you, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Now, that's it, guys. I am out of here. I will talk to you again on Sunday. I hope you have enjoyed this stream. I've really enjoyed doing it. And I hope, I hope you have enjoyed the different opinions on it. I thought it was more balanced. So I'll talk to you all on Sunday, and hopefully we will have more of this madness Sunday. I can't wait to see what the Master does, to be quite honest with you. I'm looking forward to that. Good night.